This is an Alternerd reality podcast.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Alternerd Reality Podcast. It is a podcast for all things nerdy, all things gaming, basically all things awesome. I am one of your hosts, Chewburger84, and joining me as always, he's a true artiste, ladies and gentlemen, a shining star in a vanilla sky. It is Hebrew Hammer. How are you, buddy?
I am doing good, but I'd be doing better if I understood that reference. I legitimately don't know if that was a Tom Cruise reference or not. So,
Hooch, you know this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd like to take a cruise on that.
All right, we'll bring you in a sec. So he is definitely one of the immortals joining us this week. He's been around a few times, but his phoenix is definitely rising, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Hooch. How are you, buddy?
Hey, doing all right.
I nearly went like full white boy, then went the Hooch instead of the Hooch.
Oh my God,
what a
no.
dick. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. Just surviving Thanksgiving. That was
How was that at your house?
well, we had a small gathering within guidelines. So
That's a
but
lot.
really what it boiled down to was just like me with my kids for like 4 days straight. And let me tell you this much: being the parent to a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old is insane. They constantly try to do stuff to hurt themselves and each other. Mm-hmm. And 1 minute they're at each other's throats, the next minute they're playing together, and then you go to the third minute, now they're chasing the dog. And throughout all of that, I'm the one going, don't do that, no, put that, no, stop that, no. Yeah. My brother told me the other day, like, dude, you're gonna have a heart attack. I'm like, hey, it's gonna be these kids' fault.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's going to be intense. I've always heard, like, it's such a meme in movies. Obviously, I've never been to Thanksgiving in the US, but, like, it just seems to be such a stressful thing because everyone's just raging about how, like, being around family is just intense when you're forced to do it for that whole day.
Well, this year actually wasn't bad because it was just like it was actually the people in my wife's family that I really like and get along with a lot. But when you start to expand that, you get some characters in her family that show up and you're like, oh, good God.
Yeah.
The uncle, you know?
Yeah, literally her uncle is one of them.
There's always one. There's always one. What about at your place, Hebrew? Stuff many turkeys?
Yeah, well, for us, I mean, it was like a much, much, much smaller, toned down version of Thanksgiving. Usually we have like, I want to say like 13, 14 people for Thanksgiving. But this time it was literally 4 people, like including myself, for Thanksgiving. So it didn't even really feel like Thanksgiving, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing, because whenever you have like 12 people, like it is absolute chaos. And so even my parents, they were like, yeah, this was the, like, not the best Thanksgiving, but it was just like the calmest Thanksgiving that they've ever had. Like, as far as like, you know, there's not a whole bunch of people interrupting things, but we have a lot of family that, like, politically are just like on opposite ends of the spectrum, surprisingly. So like it always ends up getting on weird touchy subjects, and also religion too. So like the two like big no-nos we end up getting into inadvertently a lot, and it causes arguments. So we have that classic like kind of shitty Thanksgiving, but also in the same way, like those shitty Thanksgivings are also nice. Like I missed it this year. You know, even though it's a lot of arguing and people getting offended and shit, like I truly did. I missed it. So, because it's always, at the very least, it's fun to watch. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was not nearly as good, but it was, you know, it was calm, and it still tasted fucking amazing. So, yeah.
Because what was the vibe over there this year? Like, it's got to be such a weird year with like the Rona apocalypse coming down on you guys hard towards the end of this year.
Yeah, it's just a shitty vibe.
Yeah, I mean everybody is like kind of subdued and just like it doesn't have that same feeling. You have to like go out of your way to try to recreate it.
Yeah.
You know, mad props to my wife though, who like anytime there's a gathering or whatever, she will just go balls to the wall and insanely prepare and you know, try and come up with really cool fun stuff for everybody to do, and I'll just sit back like an old grumpy bastard and judge everything, be like, I'm not doing that shit.
But everyone has their roles during Thanksgiving, and that's your role, and you obviously played it well.
Then you know what? Then fine. I'm happy with that role of.
Yeah, because someone in your family is gonna remember you as that guy that always classically did that.
Every Santa
that's
needs a
like
Grinch.
your thing, and if exactly like
Oh shit! You know what I just
someone to
realized?
fill that role.
I'm the uncle.
you're the
Oh,
uncle.
shit.
Exactly.
Yes, because I have 4 nieces and nephews that are gonna get older and be like, oh God, are you bringing Uncle Daryl? Ah, jeez.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So
He's always so angry.
well, I will say that like this time, like it feels like shit. Like especially during Christmas, it feels like way worse than ever. At least for me, it feels like really, really shitty now because Christmas was always the best time of the year. People were just nicer for no reason at all, and so that always felt good. And I don't know, there was just kind of this general upbeat attitude that everyone had all year round, and going around during Christmas times and like shopping and stuff like that was always fun. But now it's just fucking terrible, dude. Like, because you're thinking to yourself like, wow, like Christmas is the best time of year, and I'm gonna have to wait another year to get to an actual decent one, maybe, assuming that everything works out well. So yeah, it's pretty shitty.
That America
time
doesn't
overall.
end.
See, now I feel like
Yeah, pretty much.
now I feel like Scrooge because I'm the opposite. I'm like Christmas sucks. 'Cause
Really?
I'm always out.
Oh, man.
Only in the sense where it's like I'm the kind of person where inconvenience is the most inconvenient, right? So Christmas time is where you're like, hey, I just ran out of this thing. I got to run to the store. Oh shit, this is gonna take an hour and a half because the lines are crazy. It's nuts out there. Like all I need is a fucking pack of batteries. That's all I
just
need.
delivery, dude. I have everything delivered.
Yeah, no, this was before like we had Amazon.
Okay, well, so then now you should fucking love the hell out of it.
Well, yeah, but then there's that instant gratification. Like if something goes out, my batteries goes out like in a remote or something, I'm not going to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I can wait 2 days for Amazon to ship this to me or even tomorrow. I'm like, I kind of need this now. So
That's when you
I guess
steal
I
the
gotta go
batteries
brave
from
the stores.
something else, and then
Yes,
that's my go-to.
Don't get it twisted. I've done that. You're like, look, I don't need to use this right now. I'm not going to the store.
My razor's usually the first one to go. Like, yeah, okay, I'll take these. I just won't shave for the next 2 days.
Yeah, but now everything I have is rechargeable, so it doesn't have like batteries of itself. It has its own battery pack that just gets plugged in somewhere.
Yeah, get a rechargeable remote or some shit like that. Have everything.
Yeah,
rechargeable.
that's you know what? I've just done the opposite. I've just taken the Xbox away from the kids, so now they no longer have controllers that they have to worry about using batteries for.
I love that you just called yourself like the Scrooge McDuck, and then at the same time just said, and I took the Xbox away from the children. They didn't deserve it. They weren't thankful enough at Thanksgiving. I don't know why you're that character now, but you are.
Well, they aren't thankful enough, but yeah, no. But it goes along the lines like I was saying, like having 2 kids who are constantly at each other's throats, like trying to get them to play a game like Gang Beasts together was a nightmare.
What is it called? Gang Beasts?
Gang Beasts. Yeah. Basically, it's just you're beating the crap out of each other and trying to throw each other off the map.
Oh, shit.
Right? But it uses like ragdoll physics and stuff. It's actually a pretty funny looking game. But
Sounds like
because
extreme Fall Guys.
yeah, yes, something like that. Or lower budget Fall Guys, like the Roblox version of Fall Guys. My 9-year-old, because he's better, would pick on the 6-year-old, and they would the 6-year-old just starts screaming. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this crap anymore. So you guys no longer get the Xbox. And I think I took it from him like
Just
a year
as well
ago
you've
and
got
I haven't
gaming
given
to
it back.
escape that. That's why they invented noise-canceling headphones. But I feel you boys. Like, it's definitely rough going into Christmas. Like, obviously, we're literally by ourselves over here, our little family, so we can't get home because Australia's fucked in their attitude towards COVID and bringing people home. So, our government could eat a gigantic cock as far as I'm concerned.
I thought it was supposed to be good over there, COVID-wise.
Yeah, it is, but they're like, oh, you decided to live overseas? Go fuck yourself. We'd have to pay
Australia
$5,000.
forever, bitch.
Yeah. We're just like, oh, you want to come home, do you? Well, I'll tell you what, mate, you can pay fucking $5,000. We're going to lock you in a cage for 2 weeks, you pricks. And we're going to fucking give you like a cheese sandwich for food. And there's a fair chance that the chick cleaning your rooms probably licked something before she came in, so she's got the Rona. So look, we're not going to guarantee you're not going to get it. They literally had to restart the lockdown in one state in Australia this week because a cleaning chick got COVID and they were worried that everyone was infected. So some people had been in there for 2 weeks and they said, oh, it's going to be another 2 weeks now. And then my understanding was they tried charging them for it. Like they're overcharging people for the rooms too. Like they're the shit rooms. The security guards are like, they've already been busted multiple times for trading like, I'll tell you what, I'll let you out of your room so you can go to the shops if you suck my cock. Just gross. And like, that's how a lot of that. I'm not even kidding. Like you Google it, it's a legitimate story. So it's dumb.
Yeah, the voice was like a cross between an Australian and that fucking old guy from Family Guy.
Herbert the pervert.
Yeah, like
Herbert.
That was like a cross between the two, and it's fucking hilarious. So.
It didn't have the whistle though. Yes, have the whistle.
Yeah, it's true.
If you don't do the whistle, it's not quite Herbert.
Yeah.
So to give my wife something this year, one thing she's always wanted to do is watch the insane fireworks display that they fire off the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, which is always a nightmare to deal with because like people are like crawling all over each other. So I don't even want to talk about how expensive it is, but I just booked a hotel that has a room that looks directly over the fireworks display for New Year's. So we're going to do 2 nights there, which is going to be pretty rad. So with me being officially broke, what a better time to go into the shameless shilling section of the show. So look, if you are enjoying this podcast, folks, make sure you tell your friends about it because obviously nerds know nerds and what we love. Make sure you check us out on Apple and leave us a review over there. If you can, 5 stars definitely helps us a lot. And if you leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it out on the very next episode. And if you want to go the extra mile like our buddy McFly did, thank you so much for upping your subscription this month, my man. We know things have been tough out there. We've lost quite a few subscribers to financial challenges through COVID. And look, we understand. Please look after yourselves first. But if you do have a couple of bucks spare to help us keep the show going, just head on over to patreon.com/ANRpod. Let's talk about some video games that we have been playing, boys, or perhaps TV shows we've been watching. Should we wrap up our thoughts on Valhalla first, Hooch?
Sure, let's go through it.
How are you finding it now? Anything to update?
I'm still super far away from like finishing the game, but the game has led me to believe or to realize one thing about my gaming style. I mean, I mentioned before, like a lot of times I'll just run off and do side quest stuff, but I can now. There's a method to my madness, and it comes from early gameplay with a buddy of mine where he drilled into my head, you can't complete the game until you hit max level. So that's kind of like how I play the game. So I get to the point where I do so much of the side quests and the other stuff where I level up so much where the main content is trivial. And that's what's happening to me at this point is I'm going back through and progressing through the main content. And it's like, I reached one mission where they're saying like, hey, you can't go storming the gates of this place because it's impregnable and it's, heavily guarded. I'm like, oh yeah, watch me. Strolled right up to the front, like freaking Ghost of Tsushima style, called everybody out. Yeah, exactly. It's like called everybody out and then just stood there and parried dudes and then stun killed them and parry, stun kill. It was just like on repeat till I wiped out the entire place. But even then, that being said, like the combat still feels, once you get it down, it still feels pretty fun. And the game is still obviously just super gorgeous. I'm building up my settlement a little bit more, progressing the story. I have turned Ivor into a dirty slut. She
you mentioned that
she's banging literally everybody, even up to the point where there was I had a bit of a tryst and had to identify the partner and failed, which was hilarious.
Are you living out a fantasy in this?
No, not quite. Yes, because that's the thing I want is dirty Vikings crawling all over my body.
There you go.
But yeah, as I said, the game's still a heck of a lot of fun. If it wasn't for Immortals coming out and then the desire to finish Miles, I'd probably be playing it like still more frequently. I even upped my WoW subscription and started that, but still Valhalla keeps calling me back.
I have been really surprised how taken I was with Valhalla because I never got anything what I would consider close to finishing Origins or Odyssey. I enjoyed both of those games, but something would come out and I'd be like, oh, I'll come back to it, but I never did. Like, there wasn't anything about it that just grabbed me. Valhalla just has this combination of, I don't think it does anything perfectly, but it has so many different systems and mechanics. I think so many people can find something that they like about it to at least get a few hours. Now, I put in over 100, and I think I finished at like 93% completed or something. Like, it's just all the, the things, the collectibles I didn't get. But I did every side quest that there is to be had in this game. Like, all the mysteries I solved. Some of the puzzles, you just go, oh, I'm so tired of this. Like, if I have to stack another rock on a fucking other rock in perfect harmony again, I'll lose my mind. So there was stuff like that does great and gets old. But like, I think I hit the maximum level, quote unquote, at like level 80. 80 hours in. So the last 20 something hours was going further, because they have a system which I think is gearing up for the DLC content and the new game plus, which is basically you keep scaling. Like, a new mini skill tree opens up when you get to max level, and then you start building points into either bear or wolf or whatever. So I was really impressed. And as you say, though, like, everything was a joke in combat by the end of the game. Like, I was so over-leveled. I think the highest level content is about 250 for the regions, and I was about 400 plus, I think, 30-something. So,
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Some of the story modes were very, very satisfying. I think the stuff where they go through, I don't want to spoil it too much, but like the whole god lines, obviously you knew that was going to be in there with Valhalla, was probably my favorite part about it. And the way it ends and sets up the DLCs, I'm genuinely keen on figuring out where this goes. So, yeah, I was really blown away by how much I love Valhalla. And I cannot keep saying this enough. Like, that subscription, the fact that I got to play it for $15, bruh, bargains.
I mean, could you consider it was $15 even though you still have Watch Dogs Legions and then Immortal? I guess you could say, like, look, for this month, I played Valhalla. $15.
Well, yeah, for $15, I mean, ultimately it's got me, because I don't think the sub's actually ticked over yet. I think it's about to, but I played Valhalla, Watch Dogs completed, and then obviously now getting into Immortals, which we'll talk about very soon. But I'm really, really enjoying Ubisoft's like quarter four for this year, because it's incredible. Like, they've had 3 bangers back to back. I mean, Watch Dogs is still very, very good. Not the best game, but very, very good. Valhalla's been incredible, and Immortals. Well, let's just jump straight into it. I've been enjoying it, but my main complaints about it, we just found out about 2 seconds before the show, which is probably my own fault.
No, I agree with you. It's the when you first jump in, there's a feeling that the visuals aren't as good, like that's graphics and animations. That it just something feels off.
Yeah. Now, in saying that, I fucked myself with that comparison, because I played some hours of Godfall, which is obviously a stunning video game visually, and Miles Morales before I played this. So, I mean, the combat dynamic difference of so smooth and dynamic and just explosive like Miles Morales to go into this, it felt like such a 180 that I was like, it actually was jarring. I didn't love it at first.
To me, this felt a lot like when I jumped from Monster Hunter to Dauntless.
Yeah.
Anybody who's familiar with those two games knows that, like, Dauntless is a simpler version of Monster Hunter visually, mechanically, whatever story. It's not as involved. There are systems in there that are, it's not like super dumbed down. They have their own systems and complexities and things like that. But like, when you first transition, you're like, this just doesn't feel good because it doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
But once you've immersed yourself in it and that kind of wears off, then you see what the game has. And it's very similar with Immortals. Like, I see that, because I just jumped from Valhalla, and Immortals is, if you like, it's Breath of the Wild meets Assassin's Creed, and it's like the offspring of the two. That's a lot.
What makes you compare it to Assassin's Creed? Because I don't get that vibe. Tell me what makes you think that.
A little bit more like you have the skill tree kind of thing. You've got some of the armor upgrades that are a little bit different than you have in Breath of the Wild. Sure, Breath of the Wild gives you new armor. Also, a little bit more of the gathering mechanic and things like that you have in Valhalla, where you run around picking up stuff and combining things to make potions and whatnot. And then and then the combat feels more, the combat feels like a mix between Breath of the Wild, where you have the counter system and the dodge system that opens up the enemy and slows everything down if you time it right. But then there's also a stealth system. I haven't had a chance to really dig deep into it outside of getting a mount. But you still have that stealth system, and you're crouching, and you're invisible when you're in bushes, and you can sneak up behind guys, and you actually have a stealth attack. So yeah, so that's kind of where you get that marriage. But you're right, like if you really look at it, it's more Breath of the Wild than Assassin's Creed.
I'd say like 90%. Well, the game that this keeps throwing vibes for me, and I'm going to throw to Hebrew in a sec with this comment, is like the comedy especially, and like the sort of cheesy nature, if you will, or like little cheeky nods at adult humor, as well as the way they've voice acted the main gods that are sort of narrating this story. I cannot help but feel Fable in here. And being the Fable guy on this podcast, did you have the same takeaway, Hebrew?
Yeah, so I've been playing for a bit now. It sounds like you guys are like, how many hours have each one of you guys put in?
I'm only 5. Hooch is way out in front.
I think I'm like at 12 now.
Oh, okay, I'm like an hour and a half in. So, but yeah, no, I absolutely got that vibe. I was actually pretty excited to play it once he told me that there was like you had kind of mentioned it in kind of a bad way, but I guess in kind of a good way too, from your own admission for the Fable comparison. But for sure, it is very much like that. Like I agree. Like I like the perspective that they're narrating it from. Like I like that idea. I think it's like more unique, and it definitely has like this storybook fairy tale vibe about it, which is cool. And I do like the styling as far as like the animations and like what the characters look like. Like Zeus, I think like epitomizes like its style specifically as a character. I think he looks pretty cool. And yeah, I like the comedy choices and everything like that. It's been a really funny game to listen to the more that I've been playing. But graphically, I am not impressed in the slightest bit. I have to say, like I'm just like I'm not feeling it in like everything I do. I feel like this is dialed back.
Now
I was expecting.
Let me intervene here because this was my main criticism too. The settings in this fucking game in default are AIDS. So Hooch and I spent some time. Yeah, I said the same thing because I was looking at people's videos on the first couple hours when it released, and I was like, shit, it's not just my computer. Like everyone's got like really crappy looking footage. And then I started seeing this gorgeous footage coming out. I'm going, the fuck? How are these people like? Are they just editing in 4K or something? But no, it's in the settings. You have to go in and manually upscale shit, or it looks like a really, really scaled down, like very kind of like original not God of War. What was that game? Darksiders kind of interface. Like it felt really bad. And then, like I said, 2 minutes before the show, Hooch was going, man, it looks stunning to me. What are you talking about? And we changed 3 settings, and honestly, I played 2 minutes. I was like, okay, I was wrong.
Well, that makes so much more sense with the, like, whenever I first saw the trailer for this game, I remember, like, messaging you and being like, dude, this game looks fucking great. And I was like, and I was surprised whenever I was playing, I was like, I'm really surprised I didn't catch this in the trailer, that it just doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
But now, okay, that makes sense because they were obviously, showing it at its highest rate. So that makes more sense. Now I'm really excited to go back and change those settings and do it. I also picked, performance over, graphics, which I guess might have been my mistake there, but
so for most games,
are you playing it on PC or console?
He's on PS5.
PS5.
They still have the same settings though. I had a look before.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I was thinking. I was just like, man, like I am just like, I know we're in these muddying times where like, whenever any new console releases, you're getting PS4 plus PS5 options, which just is never going to be actually optimized for PS5 performance. So like, yeah, I was just like, I wrote this off as like another like kind of mistake in between the consoles. But yeah, I'm excited to go back and try that out now with the different settings. But yeah, I mean, as long as that's fixed, then yeah, I'd say that this game has a lot of promise. I'm certainly going to play through it. The combat at the beginning seems very simplistic. I know it opens up obviously because I saw the skill tree, but I would say like it takes a little bit to open up, even just to see that it starts to open up. And the climbing, I think, is AIDS at the beginning.
Okay, so let me say this: the first 2 things you want to upgrade, and I don't want to get too game specific for people, but if you are listening, you're going to play this game. The 2 upgrades you want to get first thing in the game is the climbing upgrade and the gliding upgrade in the skill tree.
That was my plan.
You've got to do it. The game feels so shit if you don't, bro. It feels. I agree with you. Like, especially because we came from Genshin, which
exactly.
With it's let's face it, it is the Breath of the Wild clone that did it right. And I think this game, I don't think it's as slick as that as far as the movement mechanics are concerned. But in Genshin, it's not really an obstacle. Like the climbing doesn't. It makes you feel immersed, but it doesn't go out of its way to say,
it's not super punishing.
You don't have enough stamina. Whereas this game, very much out of the gate, like Breath of the Wild, to just go and fuck your cliff and just throws you off. You know?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing also about Immortals is if you are climbing and your stamina starts to run low, just pop a potion or eat one of the stamina berries. Yeah. And it just boosts and it'll keep you going. So conceivably, if you have enough resources on hand,
just feels bad.
You can but it's not a limiter as much as it is like when in Genshin you hit the end of your stamina bar, you're done, you're falling. There's nothing you can do about it.
But you have a lot more out of the gate. Even you have a lot more stamina, and you have the jump mechanic, which is just because part of it is just that it's so gosh darn slow. To climb up shit.
That's fair.
You can eventually get a jump mechanic. It's not.
That's what we're talking about. That's when you have to get out of the gate.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I knew as soon as I found the skill tree, I was like, even though I can't see the upgrades yet, I was like, I'm going to everything that's exploration. I'm putting it in first.
Yes, that's the right call.
Yeah, so, because the other thing I do love about it is the glide, and you have the speed boost on the glide, which
that's it
gets you. It uses less stamina. Yeah. Than if you regularly glide and you go faster. And the traversal on that is so great.
Yeah, I only had that about half an hour before we recorded this, and it's definitely so much different. So I would say that, the first probably 3 hours, well, it depends on how explorative you get. Like if you're just doing the main story, let's say in the first 2 hours, it's going to feel bad. It could be up to 3.5 hours. I mean, not like, God, what was that game with Norman Reedus?
Death Stranding.
It's not fucking the first 10 hours of that game bad, but, it doesn't feel great. So I think this is a game I'm definitely going to spend some more time in. It's not grabbing me as much as the last few games I've played through, like Miles or Valhalla. It's growing on me. Like the humor's getting a little bit better. The story's kind of going into fun places. I've seen the DLC plan as well, and I really like it. The fact that they're going to do different characters in different mythologies. So this is obviously all the ancient Greece stuff. The next one is all about Chinese mythology. So I really like the plan they've got in place for this as well. So I guess we're talking about a new game, boys. So in a couple of words or less, should people play this game?
I say give it a shot. Here's one of the other things, like we were talking about the options and the customization or whatever. But one thing like we didn't go over was the amount of control you have over like the UI and some gameplay stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you're like me and you want to go through and be handheld, you can literally have the game point you like in every direction and give you so many, tips and pointers. And you can also like if you want to be like, totally raw dog and flex your EP, and you can turn off the HUD basically.
Oh, you just reminded me of something I hate now. So in Assassin's Creed, you climb up to the big tower and you go, I can see all the things from here. So it's all on the map. With this, it's got that stupid fucking binocular thing that games used to do a few years ago, and I hated it then and I hate it now, where it's like, move the camera. Oh, the controller's vibrating. There's something nearby. Zoom in further, and then you log that on the map. I know. Fuck that. I hate that. Dude. If there was a thing that said for $10, like in Valhalla, we'll just give you everything on the map, I would pay it right fucking now because I hate that system. It's time-consuming trash. Do you remember the old Mass Effect 2 where you had to scan all the fucking planets? I hated that shit too.
Oh god, that sucked. Yeah, that you just have to come up with a pattern to make sure you scan the entire
hurdles.
Planet.
It's
that
so
doesn't need to be there. We get it. I mean, but if you're going for authenticity, this is a game about fucking gods, right? It's Jesus. Anyway, sorry, mini rant over. That's one thing I really did hate.
Yeah, well,
no, it's all good.
For me, I would say play it if you have the Ubisoft. Deal.
Yeah.
If not, only if you really like the mythology.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Or like the idea of playing through different mythologies with the DLC. Like, granted. Otherwise, I can't say that it's worth it at this point. So.
At what point do we approach Ubisoft to start giving us money? To
That and Microsoft. The amount of cock I've
service?
sucked on that Xbox Game Pass thing, honestly, yeah. I think I'm kind of in the vote of Hebrew that I put this in the Watch Dogs Legion category. That this is a game I think that, you know, it's one of those games I think it's really fun to play and you should pick it up. But would I pay full retail for it right now? Probably not. I think it's amazing value for that pass. I think it like the Game of the Year edition in a year with all the DLC built into it would be an amazing purchase. Or, you know, if it's discounted on the Christmas or Valentine's Day sales, whatever. But I think full retail, I mean, I'm only 5 hours in. I may evolve my opinion next week. But right now, it wouldn't be with everything coming out, especially with Cyberpunk being, what is it now? It's the 5th of December now. It's 5 days away. Would I buy it right now? God, no. Cyberpunk is going to
As someone
dominate.
who
That's why.
As someone who just bought it at full price, I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I know I've mentioned it before. I'm hemming and hawing as to which direction I'm going to go with Cyberpunk, but like I'm going to push through Immortals as quickly as I can so I can free up that time for Cyberpunk.
Well, look, let's go there now. I know it's not about what we've been playing, but I mean, I think that's a discussion I want to have anyway because like it's 5 days away, and I have an amazing rig for my computer, but what I don't have is a 4K monitor. Like I've got sort of like the best of the bunch like 2 or 3 years ago when it was like 144 refresh rates. It's full like, you know, right up to 4K, but you can't run it at like 120 frames, at least 120 hertz refresh rates in 4K. I've been waiting for those monitors to come out, but the handful that are out there are so prohibitively expensive. So it's like, well, do I do it on the PC because I love first-person shooters with a mouse and keyboard, and that ultimately that's what this is going to be? Or am I going to go PS5 where, weirdly, because of this monitor, it's going to look so much better on my 4K 120 Sony?
I say PlayStation all the way.
Yeah.
For this one. I mean, I know that you like shooters better on PC. I personally don't. I'm the other way. I like it better on consoles, but like, especially like watching on a big screen and stuff like that. Like this is a game I want to watch.
It's got that cinematic feel. You're right.
4K.
And then I guess we could
Exactly.
probably say with our listeners as well that are in the A&R community, which I didn't plug before, discord.me/A&R. Let us know where you're playing it, because obviously there is going to be some multiplayer. It's not the reason I'm playing Cyberpunk, but if it looks good, it'd be nice to know where we all are, I suppose.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I will be adding a Cyberpunk channel, by the way. So whenever if you are like signing up new to the A&R podcast, or I'm sorry, to the A&R Discord, just whenever you go to the role assignment section, make sure that you click on the Cyberpunk area for reaction, and then it'll let you have access to that spot. So.
Yeah. Which way are you leaning at the moment, Hooch? I know you're in, don't know which way to go like me.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of in that same boat exactly as you said. Is it mouse and keyboard on PC, which is where I play FPS games, or is it that cinematic, awesome visual experience that you get?
It's
on,
that PS5, dude.
PS5.
Don't even
so,
care.
With
so
need
here's the
excuses to
thing.
play PS5.
I think I'm leaning more towards PS5 because I did get a brand new TV.
Yep.
There you go.
LG Nano 85,
right.
which is 4K, 120 hertz.
There you fucking
and
go, dude.
Miles looked amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you've already played it?
on
I thought you
that.
said you just ordered it when I was talking to you the other day. Why the fuck wasn't this year? Fuck your Thanksgiving. We should have been talking about that TV.
Yeah, I know exactly. Well, actually, you know what? I have to. You know, my brother listens to the podcast, so I got to give all credit out to him. This is a replacement. Remember, I told you last week I got the Sony.
That's right. But the last gen,
so he and
unfortunately,
I-
didn't have the 120 upgrade. Yeah.
Exactly. So he and I went through some research, and you know, he just said, "Look, I'm sending you the Nano. Just take the Sony back to Best Buy."
Nice.
So I have the Nano, plugged it all in, and like it was insane how good Miles looked on it. I even went back and played some old PS4 games. You know, Avengers looked good. Still sucks gameplay wise. But
Oh,
still,
what was
it
the
looked
load
good.
time like? Because I'm about to load that up this week with the
it was-
DLC.
It's much faster.
It was a little faster, like to get into the outpost, but I couldn't bring myself to actually load up a mission because it's like I don't want to go through that hell.
Yeah.
But it seemed a little faster than it was before, not significantly faster. But
From
yeah,
everyone I
it's
spoke
just-
to, I heard it's like a good bit faster.
well, I'm hoping that I just wasn't paying attention enough, and that because I will totally admit that I wasn't like timing it or
Right,
anything.
I'm sure, yeah.
So yeah, but I think if you were to put it side to side, it did feel faster. The other thing I did was I even played an older game. I played Monster Hunter on it, and Monster Hunter looked
Shit, I've been thinking about doing that
fantastic.
because that Ice, whatever it was, expansion looked really good. But then I'm like, if I'm going to go and play
Yeah.
one of those games, it's probably going to be Destiny 2. Just that's been looking real
I heard
good. The
Destiny.
feedback's been great.
Yes.
And with everything that's out right now, dude, like now's not the time to get invested in a long game like Monster Hunter.
Jesus,
Yeah.
yes,
Like-
Monster
Actually, one of you
Hunter.
guys have been
gotta
playing
wait.
Destiny 2. It's in the show notes, right? Who's been doing that?
Yeah. That's your boy right here.
Oh, your boy. What's happening in Destiny 2?
Destiny 2 is feeling really good right now. So I have been back periodically. I think I've gotten actually every single expansion and played a bit.
Right.
And I'm still in the like fairly. I think I'm like 50% through the new part of the campaign. Feels really good. I'm still like you can tell it's a really, really good quality update as far as everything that they've added to the game. The campaign feels good. I'm just not super sold on stasis, like as a general thing.
Right.
Like your stasis mode. I can only speak for the Warlock, but it feels weird, and I'm not a huge fan of it yet. Maybe someone can change my mind on it, or
Yeah.
I'll figure it out later on. But it just feels kind of odd. I like my other subclasses better, but overall, like story-wise, pretty good. The new like beginning villain, at least, is kind of generic, and you're like, okay, it's another one of these, and but it's getting to that real end game part. Like, I mean, we're kind of in the end game here,
Yeah.
with the overarching story of Destiny, which is cool. And I'm weirdly enough, like, it's getting me even more pumped for what's going to come after this, because my theory is that, like, after we get done with the whole like darkness light part of it. Wait, shit, I don't know if I could say this, because never mind, I can't say anything because it might be spoilers. So
It's all right. The fact you're excited, that's all we need to know. I mean,
But
that story
yeah,
trailer is the
I'm
reason I
excited
want to
for
play it.
for the future of it even more so.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, it's past the 50% part. I think is where I am basically right now. Is where things are going to get really interesting. And let's just say, yeah, it gets me really hyped for thinking about what's going to happen afterwards once you figure out more about the darkness itself.
Yeah, right. Because my understanding is you're playing basically the PS4 version on the PS5. My understanding is the PS5 and
Until the
Xbox
8th.
versions on the 8th, which is only a couple of days away. Yeah, so
That's correct. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
playing. It is slightly optimized. Like, there is a difference between the PS4 version and the PS4 version on the PS5. It is slightly optimized, but I am really looking forward to see what's going to happen on December.
Yeah,
That's
make
for
sure you let us know on the Discord as well, like how that upgrade process works, because I want to know, like, does the save games just automatically transfer? Does it upgrade the existing version, or do you have to uninstall and reinstall the whole new thing, which I'm guessing is going to be
It's
the
a
case?
good point. Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see how that process works. So make sure you share that with the community through the week.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Awesome. All right. Wow. As in, wow, that fucking game is still going? You've been playing some of that hooch.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, was it 16 years now?
Crazy, man.
Jesus, my God.
Yeah. So I fell into the well of FOMO and picked it up again. Like the story. So basically, like one of the major things this time is they're forcing you through the main story as your primary means of leveling for your initial character and initial playthrough, right? So as a result, like you're no longer like just wandering off, let's doing side quest here or there. It streamlines the experience a little bit, but then the other problem is all of the end game stuff is locked behind the completion of that story.
Okay.
So until you complete the story mode, you cannot get access to any of the end game content. Which
I kind of like that, honestly. I like the sound.
I'm on the fence because for me, like a lot of the characters, or if anybody else who comes in with a lot of rested XP, you're going to blow through a lot of the levels. So you're going to find yourself finishing or hitting, max level before you finish the story content.
So is the story
Whereas if
content
it was-
good? Because if they're forcing you to do something that feels like it's dragging and you're doing it to tick a box, then I can understand why that would be shit. But if the
So-
story's good, it's like, yeah.
So far, it's kind of I haven't really felt like we've gotten to the nitty gritty of the story. Again, I'm not super far into it. I haven't hit max level yet. I think I just hit like 56 or something like that. But it's still like I'm into the second zone, and there's events that happen in the first, when you're in the first zone, that lead you into the second zone. Now you're trying to figure things out. So I'm still in that exploration of the who done it, who did what, like who's behind it all kind of thing. I think once I start getting into the third or fourth zone, when that story like opens up, then I think maybe that'll be a good determination of, is this story good? So far, it's kind of like, all right, well, let's see where it goes.
I've been hearing really good things.
I will
I've
say
heard people
this
say
much.
that of the last few expansions, this is definitely the best one for a while. However,
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying that it is starting to really show its age in a lot of ways as well. That it's not redefining the game in a way that it may need. So if you like WoW and you're invested in a lot of the characters, because you're going to see a lot of the old characters come back, some of the old favorites, because obviously we're in the Dark Realm, whatever the fuck it's called, where basically everyone's dead. Shadowlands, that's the one. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, the fact that it doesn't really, like when you get to the end game, it's going to be same old, just with new raids. I don't know.
Well, actually, no, sorry to jump in real
Please.
quick, but no, they've added some new stuff to the end games. Like they're called I can't remember the name of them right now off the top of my head, but basically it's a roguelike type event.
Oh, someone said something about this.
Feature. Yeah. So basically, you're running through, and the idea is like the things, it's generated on the fly, and different stuff is happening. I haven't like actually done anything in that yet, but I've been talking to some friends who've been playing it, and they're like, it's interesting, and it takes it in a different direction. But there are some frustrations, as like sometimes things get a little too difficult if you run into problems with having the wrong, like if you're in a group and you don't have like the right team makeup, like 2 DPS or a DPS is a little bit troublesome, but like tank heal, they're just smashing through the content.
Is it kind of like public events from Destiny? Is that
no, because I don't think it's public events. Like again, I don't know how you actually get in, but I think you have to actually queue up, and you're in there solo. You're not like there's no one else around you or whatever. I think.
okay?
But what he's talking about is actually like a completely different game, dude. Like it's not like traditional WoW in the way that it plays.
No.
Like it's very
Oh,
different.
really?
Yeah.
It's more like a mythic kind of dungeon, but there's no time limit, so there's no pressure there, and it introduces new like interesting mechanics and things. It's I think it's the one where like the jailer, if you're in there long enough, like the level of gaze will go up. And as that happens, certain things will happen to you. Like there's one point where an assassin starts following you around and trying to kill you. So
That
it's like
seems
there's
really
this new
interesting.
mechanic.
I'm gonna need
Yeah,
to
exactly.
I'm gonna need to YouTube this after.
I say check it out. Like I hope I'm not mixing end game content, because I think there's like 2 different things that you have to do that are like kind of like the major end game content before you even get to like doing mythic dungeons and raids, which is what you also have. But it's like new stuff that they've added.
Yeah, I mean that does sound interesting. As much as I honestly do want to play it, but just as Chu mentioned, like it just looks so bad now. Like I just don't want to go back to
Well,
it
there's the
anymore.
systems in the combat too. Like you kind of want that to evolve.
Yeah,
and like there's new abilities, and that makes some interesting new play styles. Like Demon Hunter changed a lot of things, a little while back, a few expansions back. But it literally is the same core system that it was as who said 16 whatever years ago. So it's starting to feel
you're
that
playing
way
a game.
too.
Exactly, you're playing a game where the combat and the mechanics or stuff were what was popular 16 years ago, and they haven't changed that.
I think it will probably I'm gonna go ahead and say right now that I think the next there won't be another expansion. It will be WoW 2.0 that we see.
I don't know, man. I mean, I hope that's the case. I really do. But I think they're going to flog this until it doesn't make money. I really think that's what this is. Like, until there is a WoW killer. And, I mean, we've heard that term since this game come out. That, this MMO is going to be the WoW killer. And it just never happened. Because, no one really does this model anymore. It's these guys, to an extent, Elder Scrolls Online. They've got a sub-model that's a little bit different. And then Final Fantasy 14. Other than that, there's no real competition in that space. And MMOs have kind of fallen to the wayside about preferences. That's why I was so excited to hear about Amazon working on a Lord of the Rings MMO.
I was about to say, I am curious to see what happens with the shakeup with the Lord of the Rings one.
I'd love to see a resurgence in MMO, because we need that sort of next level games as a service. Because Destiny kind of introduced scale back games as a service from the MMO traditional model. And it's been great. Like, I mean, a lot of the games that have spawned out of that, some have been good, some have been Avengers. So, there's a there's a whole mixed bag there. But I really hope it comes back. But can I talk to you boys a little bit about Godfall?
For sure.
Please.
Yeah. Look, it's definitely what feels like, and you kind of get one of these games every generation. It feels like the Crisis, if you will, that this is to show how sexy a game can look on the console, right? It's visually stunning. The art style with that sort of very Chinese mythology kind of appearance is really, really beautiful. A lot of the combat animations and everything, they look really, really good. When you first start playing it, and again, I came from Valhalla to this, so it was a very, very clunky feel at the start, that you're supposed to feel like a fallen god, and you feel like a level 1 paladin from WoW, to tie that circle together, right? You feel like you've got to,
Jesus.
I swing the sword and it goes ding, that's all you've got. Then you open up a few abilities and you're like, okay, now I've got this crazy slash mechanic, or, maybe I can spec into shield so I can kind of throw it like Captain America in a circle around me. You open up a little bit of stuff and the combat starts to feel better. And it has, I know you love a good parry system, Hooch. It has what's more of a Dark Soulsy type of dodge slash parry mechanic, is that if you don't perfectly time it, you are fucked, right? So it is good and bad. Like, if you like that sort of challenge, I think you're going to enjoy it. But the loot, the more time you spend with it, I'm only about sort of 6 hours in with this game. The loot feels good early, but it does apparently sort of, pivot off quite a bit later on. And if you're not really getting rewarded for loot, that comes down to, okay, if I'm going to play this kind of grindy thing, it's about the story. Is the story going to propel me through to want to keep spending time in this game? And I would say of everything I've played in the last 5 or 6 months, from, AAA title to indies, it's probably got the worst story of anything I've played in that window of time. It's very bland. It sets you up for characters. It sets you on a mission of revenge for your brother who betrayed you. And I don't think I could give less of a shit about his... and this is my character. And the voice acting, like, for everything else they've done, it's so fucking bland. Everyone sounds like a robo-script. Like, it sounds like those videos, like conspiracies on YouTube, where they've got like that fake anonymous electronic voice that's reading out a pre-programmed text. You know what I mean? It's bad. Yeah. It's really bad. So the gameplay was fun enough for that first sort of 5 or 6 hours. Again, I'm gonna keep playing it because I want to spend time on my PlayStation, is answer number one.
Right.
But I want to kind of see if it does change. Like, is the gameplay enough? Are the loot systems enough? I mean, the fact that it's Gearbox software, I know it's not the same studio, I don't think anyway, that did Borderlands, but I think there's hope there that if they talk within that developer about, hey, have you thought about like introducing crazy fucking loot like you have in Borderlands? Because once the story's done, there is a lot of replayability in Borderlands because the loot systems are so nuts and the game is truly fun to play. If they copied a couple of those systems over here, maybe you don't care enough about the story being AIDS that you can just keep pushing through. You know what I mean? So I think it definitely has potential, but I mean, again, being 6 hours in and going, I really don't care where the story goes. Am I going to get more powerful? Am I going to feel like a god when this is done? And then you compare that with the first few hours of, Immortals, where you start off feeling very crap as well in the first couple of bits of combat, and then you get your first god item and your second god item, and you kind of see that progression very, very quickly. Godfall doesn't really have that. And then obviously the builds are so specific as well, dude. Like, let's say you're going to build into a bleed spec, right? So you can change your suits, kind of like the Javelin system, I suppose, is the best way to say it in, what was that game? Anthem. But everything plays the same, it's just your abilities and your passives are different, right? And they have a different art style. That's really the only difference between all these suits that you're grinding to unlock. And what'll happen is you'll get a piece that says, whenever you're doing a bleed, you'll do like 20% more damage. You're like, okay, let me go into the skill tree. I'm going to respec into bleeds now. I'm going to change into my Javelin that specs for bleeds. So, not Javelin, whatever the fuck it's called in this game. Core something. You do that. So it's got a lot of potential to like go into a build, but the fact that you have to do that, like that your gear will define how you play, or it should if you want to min-max anyway, is both a great feature and a terrible feature, depending on what type of gamer you are. But can I say one thing that's been a trend in games recently, which I am loving? It was in Valhalla and it's in Godfall as well. From level 1, there is no barrier to respecking on the fly anytime. I love that we're doing this now, right?
Yeah.
Don't make me farm out hours and hours of currency because I've decided I'm going to go into cryo or whatever it is in that game. Just the fact that you can say, okay, maybe I'll find the game more fun if I spec into axes or whatever. I really hope they keep doing this because that's been a forced barrier for such a long time that it's one of the bottlenecks they can remove from games. And Valhalla really showed that being able to respec on the fly and just completely change whether you want to be stealthy or, balls to the wall blazing or ranged as you go, even though you're going to unlock everything. I really liked it. And Godfall reinforced that I really do like that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the time you get to the end of Valhalla, it doesn't matter which way you go.
You get
it's more
everything.
about how you want to play.
Yeah, exactly. So, Godfall at this stage, I would say it's the most expensive game. Actually, no, Demon's Souls is on the PS5, but it's very close to the most expensive game. It is not, in my opinion, a rush-out buy right now. It's going to be one of those launch titles that people bought it because it was one of the only things on PS5 when it launched. I think it's going to be the discount bitch of PS5 for probably the next year. That all the major sales are like, oh, we need to show you something 70% off, guys. What's it going to be? Oh, Godfall again? Yep, sure. I think it's going to be that game. Every console launch has that game. For now, I think that's the situation. So we'll see. Again, I'm 6 hours in. It may change a lot. But from what I've read online and talked to other people who are playing it, it seems like that's kind of the consensus, that it looks amazing. The combat's not bad. In fact, it's quite satisfying at times as well with the challenging. But the loot rewards and the storyline are just, very poor.
So let me ask you this. Because this is, as you said, and they always have one at the beginning, this is the only PS5 only game. So it's not out on PS4.
It is on PC, which I didn't realize that was part of the original plan, but it is on the Epic Store as an exclusive as well.
That doesn't super surprise me though, because it can be scaled so high on PC. So I think that is okay. But with PS4, I feel like any of the old gen consoles that are still in it, it automatically limits the game output no matter what.
Sure.
And so, as a PS5 only game as far as consoles are concerned, does graphically, I know you said it's gorgeous, but is it impressive?
It is
enough for a showcase of PS5 capability.
It really is, yeah. I mean, and as the encounters go on as well, you get to new set pieces and whatnot, and it really does show that difference. You can literally see those frames counting every single one of them. So I think
the closest thing I've seen to that is Miles so far, and even then, it's not there was still lots that I was like, this could be better, but so I'm glad to see that.
Much of what was designed for Miles is realistically the same engine that they use for Spider-Man. This is something that was built specifically for next gen. So, there's a few bells and whistles that they have in there that you can definitely tell. I think it'll be eclipsed in games probably coming out, 6 to 12 months by now, but that's always the case with a new console. If you're asking me, is this the Crisis? Is this as in CRYSIS? I'm probably referencing games that people didn't necessarily play, but it was the benchmark game for if you want to. Right. If it is a game sexy, is it utilizing the technology? That's the game. So is it that of the PS5 generation? Fuck no. But it is. You can definitely see the differences and some of the improvements on previous systems for sure.
I am excited to see I think God of War was the best looking game on PS4 to ever come out, or I'm excited to see what that's going to be as far as pushing the limits of the PS5. So that's going to come in a good amount of time later on, though, years, I'm sure.
I own God of War. I should fire that up on my PS5 at some point.
I did it already.
I think we all have it.
It looks basically the same.
Actually, everyone that owns the PS5 has it now, remember? Because of the PS4.
That's true. That's true.
Everybody has it now.
Yeah.
But and if you have not played that game, I swear you need to play that game. You will never regret it. But
I started playing it.
It still looks great for honestly, I think that game looks as good as Miles Morales easily. And that's the best one that I've seen so far.
I think it's because you love that game. You've got the rose tinted glasses.
I honestly don't.
Don't think so. It was definitely
peaking
the performance of the PS4. But I think if you side by sided them, there'll be some cracks that you would see for sure.
I don't know. It didn't feel like that, but maybe.
It's funny you mentioned Crysis as being like the benchmark for like quality, because I always remember Crysis being the benchmark for a PC.
Oh yeah.
Like someone like, oh, I got a new computer, and the first question was, but can it run Crysis?
Oh man, that thing was ruthless on systems. Yeah, even years later, even years later, you still had options to spec it up in ways that wasn't even possible on hardware that was around commercially. Like when it came out, like that game wasn't
that like 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old?
From now, shit, I think it's older than that.
It's an old game.
Yeah,
shit.
It's quite old, but it's still
because they have a Crysis 3 now, right?
Yeah, Crysis 3 came out, but they're redoing the first one. I think basically so we can test out ray tracing for the 3.0 series or something. It's fucking amazing. All right, any other games you guys want to talk about before we get into our news?
Yeah. Although a funny thing, my kids started playing Among Us now, which is hilarious.
Shit. Oh yeah.
To watch them play the game poorly because they're screaming at each other when they get murdered.
Right. Now, have they incorporated the word sus into their language on the daily now?
Yes, they have. They're talking about being sus. They're talking about emergency meetings and all sorts of things get invented. Yeah, they're bringing it into their everyday conversations and stuff. But it is interesting to watch them play and watch them play like the wrong way.
Right.
Like, you're not supposed to tell somebody when you get killed. You're supposed to be quiet.
It's probably a good life skill to be like like constantly being suspectful of people. Like as a kid these days, I feel like it's probably a good idea. So like it's probably not a bad skill to teach them.
Pretty like, good actually.
This situation feels weird. Who are you and what are you doing? Yeah,
it's the new cry of stranger danger. Guy pulls up out the front of a school with a white van and candy on the side, and the kid just pointing at, going sauce. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I love it.
Call a meeting quickly.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Emergency meeting.
Look, was sus in the American vernacular? I mean, sus has been an Australian thing for ages.
I think it was like very low-key gamer vocabulary, but it certainly wasn't mainstream like it is becoming now.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good times. All right, let's talk some general nerdy news. There's been some big ones this week, but the Warner Brothers one is by far the biggest. So Warner Brothers has come out and basically said every movie they release in 2021 will go to the cinemas and directly to HBO Max. This is fucking massive if you have that subscription, because that means you are likely to get Matrix 4, Dune, or what do you guys say Dune, don't you? Where I say June. Dune, right?
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Kong, which they outbid Netflix for. The Suicide Squad sequel, which I'm actually pumped for. Wonder Woman 84. Yep. The Mortal Kombat fucking movie. I didn't realize that was still in production, but that's due out next year.
Wow.
And a Space Jam sequel as well.
I did know about that.
You hadn't heard of the Space Jam sequel?
I mean, they've talked about that for ages. So it is LeBron.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. So all that's going to come straight to HBO Max at the same day it goes to the movies. It's nuts, dude.
I want to thank everyone in advance for helping me stay employed. Please buy HBO Max and subscribe.
Right?
It's great. Yeah.
Now, because this is a good point. Do we think this is going to make Warner Brothers more money than theatrical releases by themselves?
Well, in the current state of things, absolutely.
Yeah,
because nobody's going to the movies.
Yeah.
So really what it's going to do is it's going to drive up the subscription for the new subscriptions, just regular subscriptions for the HBO Max service, right? And then once you get somebody in, like, hey, look, here's everything else we have. So, I think that's one of the things that I've been noticing a lot, and I'm not just shilling because, but we have there has been a lot of content on HBO Max that they've been, pushing, and they're moving, I think the DC Universe. So all of the movies and shows that were on that service are being moved into HBO Max,
which is not really a selling point.
They're and not the live action movies, but you have all the animated movies and yeah. Don't forget the live action movies, but you're talking about like Justice League, the Batman the Animated Series, even the stuff like if you were an Arrowverse fan, all that stuff is moving over.
Oh, the CW shows are going on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's all part of DC. So all the
Wait,
CW
do they own
shows are going over
CW?
there as
Am I an idiot?
I should know this.
That's right. That's Googleable later.
I don't know if they own them, but they certainly have a deal with them. If not,
Interesting.
but
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The Time Warner umbrella is huge, or AT&T umbrella is huge. So I don't know everything that fits underneath it. The only things I really care about right now, actually, are all the DC stuff. Well, there's a lot of IP, but more importantly, we've got the Cartoon Network / Adult Swim. So that means Rick and Morty is on HBO Max as well.
Bro, you're forgetting the sleeping lion of that entire fucking service.
What is that?
Impractical Jokers.
Oh Jesus,
Bro.
I mean, there's.
Dude, you haven't seen enough of it. Then that's just.
Well, see, I feel like I have.
You haven't seen
That's
enough
the
of it.
thing.
That show is fucking hilarious. You're wrong.
It has hilarious moments, but there's a lot of those gags where you're like, oh, this is so cheesy, bruh. You know.
Dude, I think it is absolutely hysterical. I love it so much, it's crazy. But yeah, no, I whenever I found that was on there, that solidified it as my favorite streaming experience right now. It really is crazy, like how much stuff is on there.
Yeah.
And for them to come in so late in the game, like we've seen these services rise and fall so quickly now, and everyone's trying to do their own thing, but they're like the actual first contenders that we've had in so long. Like beyond contender at this point, like they're certainly top 4, I guess. Because it'd be Hulu, Netflix, I guess in order it'd be Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, I'd say at this point. Probably.
So what is it about Disney Plus besides, I mean, they have Marvel and Star Wars, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I think as far as like breadth of content, Netflix obviously being number one since they've been around longer.
I think that like every parent is going to have Disney Plus.
Well, that's true, but HBO Max has quite a lot of family content.
But that's not Disney. Like Disney is like
no, it's not Disney.
Yeah,
it is not Disney.
I think every parent's like shit. Like I just need an abundance of child friendly stuff that they can just put on immediately and mess around in that service.
Yeah.
Like that is what you'd go to. Like I would be okay with putting on like Disney Plus. Just throw that on, and let them pick whatever. Like
Now,
so yeah, like I think that they have a huge market there.
So there's something to be said here in regards to
I've seen enough Disney
you guys
Plus.
are in America. So you guys look through things in a lens that a lot of us view differently, right? So you guys have always had streaming services and subscriptions that you can like kind of pick and choose what you do. So funnily enough, a lot of these streaming
the rest
services,
of the world hasn't?
No. And I'm not surprised by that comment coming from a fucking American. What do you mean? You mean it's not the same as here? Fuck. I've never even left my own state because I'm a fucking redneck. Yeah. So the thing is, a lot of these companies have gone, rah, 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 rah. Piracy this year has skyrocketed. We've got more people ripping us off than ever before. And it's like, it's your own fucking fault because I can't get Disney Plus here. I don't think I can get HBO Max, right? I would be willing to pay money for these services. And it's like, we can't get them because you get the whole... I'm sorry, you're not in a country that we like right now. So it's really fucked. And they shoot themselves in the foot because if you know something exists on the interwebs and you try and pay for it and it won't let you pay for it, my question is, what's next? It's not a hard step to find it in a way where maybe you don't pay for it.
Especially now.
100%.
Especially now because Zoom has made it like, okay, well, I guess I'll just maybe share my screen and I just happen to be watching this movie.
Oh, that's if you want to. That's if you want a partnership in piracy. Like the amount of like Netflix clones that have every episode of every TV show or movie ever made. That you basically look it up inside the search engine like you would on Netflix, and it is just there with artwork. It remembers where you were. I mean, people have told me about this. Obviously, I would never do it. Never. It's
no.
It's crazy how efficient if you want to do it. So I mean, I've tried to give Disney money this month and cannot do it. Like, so I've gone, all right, what if I VPN'd into America? And they go,
well,
it strongly appears that you're using a VPN, sir, so we're not going to let you access it. So I'm, all right, I guess I'll get creative with trying to watch The Mandalorian. You know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. You can't sit there and cry piracy is a problem when you block access to that content from certain regions or customers, right? People,
I agree.
If you create demand for it, have the fucking supply, right? It's digital platforms. How do you not just have an ability for someone
It's
to dial
just
in from a
server- it's just
website
server size.
without geo-blocking? So dumb.
So, I tried to avoid saying too much. I don't know what I can and can't say, but I know that question was brought up as to the limitation as to where HBO Max is available.
See, this is one of the
And
shit things.
it's-
Yeah. Like Netflix had this problem too with regional licensing, in that there are some monopolies in certain countries. Australia's always been one of the worst. That like Foxtel, which was the big thing there, like the real only cable subscription service, where you had to, if you wanted to watch anything, it was through there. And then new digital platforms would come out and you go, oh, awesome, we can get Netflix now. And you're going, bro, there's like 8 shows on here. Where the fuck is all this Netflix stuff my American bros are talking about? And then you realize that, oh no, sorry, that's licensed for the next 4 years on Fox 8 or some just dumb shit like that.
It's all legal. It's all legal crap as to what can and can't be streamed and things like that, as far as I know. And that's where you're seeing that limitation come in, especially for like a lot of different countries.
Yeah, because if it looks like there's no reason why, because they'd make so much money if they did, chances are there is a legal reason why they can't, because they want to make that much money as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm fairly certain, Disney and obviously, we're trying to make inroads, right?
Yeah.
And, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, I look at it this way. Other regions and other countries get to play cool games that are released in like open beta or early access that we don't get to see. So
That's true.
Flips.
Oh, you guys don't get to beta test for other people and play through absolute dog shit systems?
Exactly.
Oh, poor you.
Hey, wait. You guys, everyone else got SpongeBob from Netflix.
Oh, well, let's just call it even then.
not.
Fucking hell.
Let's just call it even. Let's wipe the slate clean and be friends.
My God.
Just how many mobile games have there been released like in the Philippines for like
all of them?
testing purposes?
It feels like all of them.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, it's more specifically blocking than that too. It's usually only Apple.
yeah, right. It's not just you're right. It's only Apple devices, only iOS devices in the Philippines or other. It's like, wait, why are these people the ones who get so lucky to check this shit out?
Now, let me tell you who's not happy about this decision though. AMC. Do you see their comments in the last couple of days?
I have not.
They came out swinging, going, we thought this was just a one-time deal with them, that we said, yep, you can release Wonder Woman 84 on Christmas Day at the same time as us, but we didn't know it was going to be for the whole fucking year. Because they're an Australian CEO, apparently. Wouldn't you love to see a press conference like that? All right, yeah, so the
yes, I would love it.
Fiscal quarter fucking number 3, we're about 20% up, so that's pretty fucking bananas. Yeah. That's how it'll be in the CEO of whatever company I form one day. So they came out swinging, going that this is, Warner Brothers obviously, the comment was they obviously don't care and are willing to sacrifice cinematic release to subsidize their HBO service, and we are not willing to participate in inflating their share prices or some shit like that. I zoned out. It was basically someone going, but what about our money?
I bet the response from HBO would be, yep.
Yeah.
Well, so here's
Batman.
here's the thing here's the one key. Right, don't forget that like all these movies are only going to be available on HBO Max for a month.
Oh, is that the case? I did not realize.
Yes, and then they'll go back to theatrical release only. At least that's what I read.
But a month out though, who's not watching one of these when it comes out in the first month?
exactly.
Don't things fall out of rotation after
absolutely.
like a month, anyways?
Yeah.
Aha!
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
I think straight up, everything that's not a service, a food service movie theater, full food service movie theater, is dead after coronavirus. That includes AMC, unless they try to amp up their game on that front. But
don't do that. I need my Cinemark. I gotta get my popcorn.
dude, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done with AMC.
See,
AMC.
this is the thing.
Oh yeah, I haven't liked AMC for a while.
I think everyone's gonna fall into camps here. Like, everyone wants the ability to have a choice of going to the movies and watching something. But I mean, if you charge people for like 20 years, like $30 for a large popcorn and a Coke, there's kind of going to be a bit of a, yeah, you had this coming, like, kind of response.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't
Right,
care that
right.
they're going out. Like, they never gave me anything spectacular just overcharged me for shit. That's my memories with AMC.
Right.
So at full food service ones, at least you can say it was a really nice location, because most of them are, at least over here, and it was a really nice location and it had great fucking food and great service. At AMC, all I can say is that shitty food and overcharged as hell, and I had to go get it myself. That's my experience with over there. So
that was one of the problems I had with AMC. Like, look, I'm paying for all this like super price stuff. You could at least like put my food together, like put the butter on my popcorn as you're scooping it. Don't just go, here's your popcorn, there's the butter, you cleave, have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I hate AMC. I can't wait to see all of them go. And yeah, it's just way more comfortable to watch at home. So if I'm not going for the experience of like movie and a dinner at the same time kind of thing, then I'm gonna fucking watch it at home and I fucking jams, dude.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cook my own popcorn,
bucket of KFC, and
just
no judgment.
Don't give me. I mean,
no one turned around going
exactly.
Shh every time you open a packet of Maltesers. Yeah,
exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, we've
Or
talked about this
somebody else
before,
doing
right?
that.
It's pretty gambling to get a hand job at a movie theater. At home, fun.
At home, you're like,
Especially if you buy
gonna
yourself.
have shit bouncing up and down on while you're watching it. It's fine.
you can pause it at home and then be like, okay, let's do our thing, and then come back to it without. You know.
No, just go doggy style so you can both watch. You rookie.
Sometimes some of us like to get a little more athletic, and it requires a little more movement.
Yeah,
but I think that this is going to be like the future of the movie going experience. Like,
because they're all threatening, well, this will be the death of like going to watch the movies. I don't think that'll be the case. I think what'll happen is you're going to get what happens in so many industries. You're going to get the budget option come out. It's just like, yep, you come here, you pay your whatever. We got cheap stuff, but you're sitting basically in a Hessian sack. And people are going to do that, like kids and teenagers, college students. And then you have your premium, like the full food service. It's like an experience. There's like a butler that comes around every 50 minutes going, would you like a Diet Coke, sir? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get that pivot.
That's my territory.
Yeah. So I think whenever there's competition, it's always a good thing. You know, as long as it doesn't become monopolized and, you know, we literally do see all of them fall apart. That's obviously quite bad for, you know, the average, you know, cinema watcher. Because the last thing you'd want is to have cinemas completely fall apart. And then if you don't have HBO Max, you never get to see Wonder Woman legally. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing. I'm kind of all for it myself. Because I
Same.
think this is an area that's been, you know, music was the first one. It's probably gone too far with music now that artists are getting nothing for their efforts. But, you know, things were overpriced with CDs and that back in the day. Now I think it's movies time going through that. I think
Movies
DVDs
were
are fucking
exploitative as fuck,
DVDs and Blu-rays are, I think, officially dead now. I don't think that survives ever.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing about DVDs or Blu-rays in themselves is you still have that
Frisbee?
the 4K. Yeah, exactly. You still have the 4K option that you don't like. The quality isn't as high on some of the like the streaming services.
Well,
like yeah,
for
they'll offer
now,
you 4K,
and,
but it's
and what, in fact, that's going to pivot me to
Yeah.
this story. Let me bring this one up the list because I think these two go together. Is the way that the internet providers, especially in the US, relegate data. Like you guys have things like data caps. So even though some of these streaming services like Netflix has been able to do 4K streaming since day one, in fact, there's talks that the infrastructure can support 8K right now. The problem is with all these data caps and all this other bullshit is that you can't do it as a consumer because if you do, you're going to fuck your data with like one season of House of Cards, right? So you need to have that going. So what's been really, really good news this week, and like, you know, talking about all the goods and bads of, you know, one president winning or another, is that one of the biggest pieces of fucking shit that has ever gone into American politics, that had the potential to fuck worldwide people over, was, do you know who I'm talking about here? If I said the name Ajit Pai, do you know who that is?
I do not. I actually saw this on the show notes, and I had no idea.
So there's a lot of
this
history here.
guy.
But let me give you the cliff notes. This is a guy that used to work very high up in Verizon, and then somehow became one of the heads of the FCC, who basically set the laws surrounding the internet, and then not even tried to hide it. Basically actively went out trying to change the way the laws go so that they're anti-competitive for consumers and to get rid of net neutrality. So net neutrality is super important because let's say you went with, I don't know, Comcast. And let's say Comcast has a deal with Google. And what they'll do is and say, okay, if you're using Google, we will make sure that you can search at normal speed. But if you're using Bing, not that anyone fucking would, they'll slow down deliberately all the search results on Bing to make it seem like a worse service, right? They basically would say that we're going to commercialize it so you would have to pay to get full speed for everything, not just their partners. And this has been getting worse and worse and worse ever since that asshole came in and the net neutrality rules started to change back in 2017. This has been something that's been encroaching on people's rights, really, worldwide on the internet, and it was getting really dark spaces. So that piece of shit, now that Trump is gone, he knows that he's potentially fucked, because he is overtly, easily one of the most corrupt people you've ever seen. Like, you might as well have just had a sign on his face saying, "I am on the take." John Oliver actually did a pretty good expose on this guy, I think a year or so ago. I definitely recommend watching it if you want the full story. But he is gone now. So this is actually great news, because it means that a lot of these things like data caps and whatnot, that this guy was basically like, yeah, they're a great thing for the user because of bullshit reason XYZ. He's gone. And Biden and a couple other people have strongly hinted that they're going to repeal a lot of the shit that he did. So if you open up the ISPs so that they're not charging just obstructive amounts of money to not only you guys, but to these service providers like HBO or Netflix, the technology's there, and I think that'll all change. That your 4K and even 8K, I'd say 8K, we're probably going to start seeing that on streaming services by at least, I'm going to call third quarter of 2021.
Oh, really? That soon, huh?
Yeah, well, 8K TVs are out now. Like, it always follows the technology, and a lot of things have been filmed in super, super high resolution for a long time anyway.
But the 8K TVs, I mean, aren't they still pretty prohibitive in cost?
Oh, absolutely they are. But we all know that, like, every March you see the first generation stuff give way to the second gen, and the cost just go through, especially in the last decade. The price just go through the toilet. Always look for a new TV in March, April, folks. Like, we talked about this before. Whenever you see CES come out, this year will be interesting, actually, because I don't know what CES will look like in the middle of COVID. It might even get cancelled. But if it doesn't, whenever you see that next gen announced, it's the month after you want to go buy the current gen TVs, because the prices go down 60%.
Yeah.
Because I also like, I mean, just for comparison here, whenever I got my new TV that I have now, last year I got it on Black Friday, and it was like $300 more to get a 70-inch.
Right.
And this year, the 70-inch, with all of the same specs that mine has, is now the same price as the one I got last year. Yeah. And the one I got even before that, like, LED was the new thing. And so, like, the LED, the next year, it was like the same price. So, yeah, every single year, basically, the new or some aspect of it goes down by quite a lot. So.
Oh, of course.
Well, even the TV I have, the Nano that I was just talking about earlier, it's a 49-inch TV, and it was like slightly over $500.
Yeah, which is pretty great.
Like a few years ago, for a 4K TV that does 120 hertz, you're easily paying $2,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been awesome, really, how that's been happening with the tech side of things. So yeah, I mean, once that's out there and TVs can handle it, you'll start seeing that go. Because that was like when Netflix first launched. 4K was pretty new, and everyone's just like, well, I could watch it in 4K for House of Cards, but it's a show about Kevin Spacey being president. I don't need high def for this. It's just normal. If it was like a Game of Thrones or something, it might be a bit different. So I think that'll come. I really do. But time.
Going back real quick to like the whole internet, the service providers and stuff like that, right? The cable companies and things like that. I was running into that issue, right? Where during the initial part of the lockdowns and coronavirus, like all we were doing was streaming.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have Comcast, and Comcast, was like, okay, look, we're not going to charge you for anything you go over. We know everybody's stuck at home. But once they removed that,
that's fucked.
Like the first bill that we got was like insane. But to their credit, they were like, look, pay us $10 extra a month than you're paying right now, and you have unlimited. And they said, yeah, well, duh, that's totally what I'm going to do. Because we had reached a point where our average was about 1.7 terabytes of data. Our highest was 2.2 at one point in 1 month.
That's exactly what I hate about it, though. Like, they know exactly where you're going to go.
Yeah.
It's the attitude of what they have to put you through in order for you to feel like you're getting a deal to get there. Because that's exactly what that was. And,
I know I'm getting raked over.
I'm sure everyone knows when it's happening to them, but it fucking sucks that there is that nonsense.
Well, that's why we really need something like Elon Musk or even Google, who are doing this satellite network. Like, I really hope that they do we're gonna project it from the stratosphere, and anyone can get it. And because we've got the potential client base of the planet, not just certain regions of the US, we can afford to do it at a ridiculously cheap rate with uncapped data. Like, we really need that one thing to break all these monopolies. Like, so much of the traditional structures of the way we get information have the potential to change over the next couple of years if those guys do it right. That's when we have to start worrying about potential monopolies there, though, because there's only 2 of them doing it, really.
Yeah.
But if they do it right...
I saw the AMA there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I saw the AMA there on Reddit for the team that's in charge of that. For the space project from Tesla.
Yep.
And for the internet, and I forgot what the system's called. Like
Starlink, I think.
What the name of it is? Starlink. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, they said like
Skynet?
their only obstacle now is just like reducing costs, which it's coming every single year. They're reducing costs by quite a lot. Yeah. So they said their ultimate goal is to challenge everyone else to either change or dissolve, basically.
Perfect.
In order to stay competitive, and that's exactly what I want. So, because the status quo has to change with them. Internet service providers are predatory as fuck.
Yep.
So,
absolutely,
I want them gone.
Couldn't agree.
They're like Blockbuster
more.
back in the day.
Now, speaking of the guy that can do absolutely everything, Oscar Isaac. He was Poe Dameron. We know he's now going to be the Moon Knight. He is also now going to be Solid Snake in what has just been announced as a Metal Gear Solid movie coming out of Sony Studios.
Yeah, it's amazing how he got out of the Star Wars experience unscathed.
That's because he was
awesome
else in the first movie, and the next 2 he just kind of disappeared. I think that's why he won.
I think that's the thing. It's like in order for like being like in a giant franchise like that, because the other 2 are basically uncastable. They said now, like they themselves even said that after the Star Wars movie. So like I'm not sure if it has to do specifically with how much backlash was there, but I remember with Harry Potter it was like the same thing. I think the key is being like there and everyone knows you, but you're not in the front. You know what I mean? Like you're a couple rows back on the movie poster kind of thing. So yeah, like it's
you basically
go ahead.
You want to prevent the fans from identifying you with the character solely.
Exactly.
Because then it becomes very difficult to see you as anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if we had to only see this guy
this.
as Apocalypse from X-Men, he'd never get hired again.
Oh, I didn't even know he was... Wait, was he...
I was
that
hoping
him?
you mentioned that.
We mentioned that a couple
episodes
ago.
You said that.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oscar
It's
Isaac
not his fault. It
was
was a fucking terrible script.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
But my God.
But again, like there are exceptions that basically prove the rule, right? With Harrison Ford, right? We know him as not just Han Solo, not just Indiana Jones, but so many other things that he's managed to do. Yeah, exactly. The president. But yeah,
I think that comes with incredibly good looks too. Like I feel like anyone that has like absurdly good looks and gets a huge following behind them can keep going, even just based on that. Because like he was like super castable because he was like the fucking sexiest guy of the year kind of thing.
Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
I was like,
Man,
wait,
I don't know if I've really ever heard him talked about in that sense. Like, not at a Clooney type level.
No, not on a Clooney type level is like, League of His Own kind of thing. But I think that, as far as an action star, he kind of, made the page with that. Or not made the page, but he definitely, was one of the poster boys of, I'm a fucking action lead character movie star. I think he was just so versatile in the way he was able to do things. And I don't know. I think he was, that wasn't a surprise to me that he was able to go through so many different roles.
Either I think it's awesome that this is getting a run, and I hope it gets the right treatment, because there's definitely a story to be had there with the Metal Gear story. There's some really cool stuff that you could do if they... Oh, there's some stuff, I don't know. There's some of that stuff with Kojima, you go, I don't know.
I'm curious as to whether or not they're going to do something like it's an intro to the Metal Gear universe, or is it going to be one of those things where they just throw you in the middle of it and like try and piece that story together? Because then there's a lot of exposition and things like over explanation of stuff as they're going through the movie, where you're just kind of like, yeah, you're just trying to explain it to me, but it just sounds hokey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like in order to really get it, like you'd have to start at the beginning. If they did kind of like a weird Star Wars scenario where they start you in the middle, I feel like it wouldn't work as well. So yeah, I would say with Metal Gear, like you'd have to start at the beginning to make it like effective for story.
Palatable for a lot of people. Yeah. I mean the fans. I mean it is a massive game. It has some diehard fans, but like Kojima's very specific as well. So I have a feeling some of it is going to have to get more. Commercialized is the wrong term, but trying to bring it more into like a mainstream story, because there's definitely some weird beats in that way. It's weird in a way that's great, but yeah, it's I'll be surprised to see how they do it. Either way, I think.
Yeah.
Hawkeye. There's a big Hawkeye week, actually. We obviously got Hawkeye, Kate Bishop coming to Avengers this week on December the 8th, for anyone that is going to go back and play that. But also, it's been confirmed that Haley Steinfeld is 100% going to be Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series coming out, most likely in 2021. We saw some shots this week from the Hawkeye set. They've added a few more members of the cast. Jeremy Renner is going to be in it, so that's obviously great. Looks like a bit of a passing of the torch type story. I kind of hope they keep both Hawkeyes, to be honest. But if they do a passing of the torch, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I guess like I don't remember her from too many movies. Like honestly,
she was the lead in Bumblebee, and she voiced Gwen Stacy in Spider-Verse.
Well then,
yes,
Gwen Stacy.
Both great movies,
awesome
actually.
As hell.
Yeah.
Did you see Bumblebee?
I did see Bumblebee, but I thought it was forgettable. I guess because I don't remember anything about it, but I know I saw it.
I think for me, after the travesties that were the Transformers movie, to have a live action Transformer movie not suck was a breath of fresh air.
Michael Bay didn't direct that one, right?
No, thank
God.
God.
There's your answer right
that was
there.
the big difference.
That's the thing. That's I think huge that you're alluding to the whole like comparison thing. It was an okay movie, but it only seemed much better than the previous Transformers because it was better than those. You know, I think as a standalone,
and it had the true, and it had the true Optimus.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I just remember from what you call it, Pitch Perfect. Like 3?
Oh,
like
I saw that on your
Where it was
IMDb,
also
but obviously, being a heterosexual male, I haven't seen it. So,
yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Bit of toxic masculinity for you there.
The only one that was good was the first one for sure. So like, yeah, it's Gwen Stacy. Like she did a great job voicing that. So. That's a redemption card for me. So yeah,
for sure.
I'm down with it.
Now I only put this. It's barely nerdy news, but I mainly put it in for Hebrew because I know this is one of his favorites. GoldenEye. Do you remember that movie, Hebrew? Mm-hmm. I figured you would. You talk about it all the time. You remember the big pinnacle scene toward the end on that giant space telescope in Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah, like very iconic part of the movie. This week that whole thing collapsed and was destroyed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pretty rad.
Yep.
Yeah, because we've seen it in that movie.
The video of it is insane.
I know, it's crazy, right? If you want to see something nuts with like just a purely just nerd project that's been, the pinnacle of being able to search for extraterrestrial life and radio signals, blah blah blah. It's a big loss for scientists and geeks out there for sure. But yeah, man, we've played on that in GoldenEye. We've seen it in the movie, and to see it just getting destroyed is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it scheduled to be decommissioned anyway?
I don't know. I don't think because the new ones, the new version is not ready. That's the problem. Is that they're saying this is actually going to affect some things for a while. Was my understanding.
Yes. Yeah. It was either in a month or later on or something. Because something I read about it was that they were already saying it was structurally unsound and dangerous. Yeah. And they were like, it's going to be decommissioned. And then it collapsed. You're like, well, guess we're good. It's going out of service.
Guess we were right.
We expected.
I was kind of hoping for like Pierce Brosnan to like post oops on Twitter.
Yeah.
No, what you want is Alan Cummings going, I'm invincible.
Any of those would have been beyond acceptable. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Or better yet, Sean Bean going, you're not going to kill me, mother.
He dies all the time. Wouldn't that be a movie? Wouldn't that be a great game? Like the Immortal of him, just like something where he does. The whole point is he just dies over and over again.
That would be an interesting one.
You know what? He should have been the lead in Edge of Tomorrow, not Tom Cruise.
Although I would love to see something where, like, kind of you die as that character, but then you are reborn into his next movie incarnation. Like, he's not a real actor, but he's just kind of that character. So he, like, wakes up out of one thing, and then all of a sudden he's in Lord of the Rings. Then he dies in that. Then all of a sudden he's in Game of Thrones. And he's just like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah, that would be total. Yes, that would be
I'd
so
play
great.
watch that for sure. Now, this one most people aren't going to give a shit about, but I definitely put this one in here for Hebrew Hammer.
Yep.
Van Helsing, you made the very ridiculous claim in the last couple of weeks that you believe the best vampire movie out there is Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, baby. There it is.
So does it excite you, or does it worry you that they are going to be rebooting this?
It excites me as long as the werewolves styling stays the same. If they put werewolves in it like that, or I'm not sure how long this series is expected to go, or anything like that, or what they plan to do for it. But like, as long as they kind of do, I mean, I really like the styling of the vampires and the werewolves in there, but as long as the werewolves have that same kind of vibe to them, like I thought that the female vampires in there were fucking badass.
Right.
So as long as it has that kind of same styling, I'm totally down for another one. I wish that they did another one anyway. So a reboot is, like as good as it's gonna get. So and if it's like terrible, I'll just watch the original one again.
Because my understanding was there was always supposed to be a new Van Helsing anyway, because obviously they were... Remember how they were going to try and set up that new Universal Pictures universe?
With the mummy?
With the mummy and the Invisible
the monster
Man.
yeah.
And then, what's his name? Russell Crowe was going to be the Dr. Jekyll.
Yes.
Which obviously fell flat because... actually, how have we not referenced that movie with all these Tom Cruise intros?
The Mummy, yeah, because it was a
it's the
terrible
forgotten
movie.
Oh, well, there's next week, yeah.
And there's also a high probability that Hebrew saw it.
I did see that one.
That's right.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
apparently they were going to bring him in later on into that universe as well. So could have been cool.
I mean, I wish that they did it, but I just wish that they did it right, because that sounds cool as fuck to have, like, the movie universe like that with all those Penny Dreadfuls coming together and going through all of it. Like, I think that's badass as hell, but it's just that movie was so fucking bad.
Well, it's the show that we've mentioned many times. And in fact, one of our podcasts was named in homage to the movie we all want to see the sequel to, which is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yep. I fucking wish, dude.
Right?
I fucking wish.
So it's funny you mentioned the vampire movies, because I was criticized when I mentioned that my favorite vampire movie was Blade.
Right.
I was chastised and said and told that I should have said a different movie, The Lost Boys.
Look,
I don't even know what that is.
Lost Boys was okay. When it came out, I think it obviously, if you watched it then, you were going to hold it in much higher regard than if you saw it probably in the last 15 years. It's not
absolutely
amazing. It's Kiefer Sutherland, right?
Yeah, it's Kiefer Sutherland and the Coreys.
No, look, Dusk Till Dawn is significantly better than that, as far as I'm concerned. Way more iconic. It's like Twilight wins worst. I think there's no argument from anyone out there that's not a 15-year-old girl, right?
Definitely.
100%. And then there's obviously things like Underworld. I think they were called with what is her name?
With Kate
Beckinsale. Yeah. So I mean, that series has always been one of those sort of kind of like it's like the Resident Evils of that universe.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Except she is a great actress versus Mila Jovovich. Oh, shots fired.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So look, we can have that debate.
At least she's not constant. At least Kate Beckinsale doesn't only get jobs from her husband. So.
Haha, I see what you did there. All right, let's talk about some video game news super quick. Oh, you got one more point?
Yeah, I was just going to also throw another contender for Best Vampire Ever is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
I haven't seen it. Yeah. No real desire to do so.
But that or also, honestly, What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
dude,
right.
What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious. Yeah.
Now, have you watched only the American one or the OG Kiwi one?
I've watched...
Oh, no.
Well, I watched the movie from, like, the OG Kiwi movie because I love all of those actors in there.
Right.
So yeah, I saw that one and I loved it. That's what kickstarted it off. But whenever they came out with the series, I was like, hell yes. And I watched the series. Totally lived up to it, dude.
Oh yeah,
amazing job with the series.
The series was great,
Yes.
but the movie was just fantastic.
Honestly, I think the series is better. Like, you should watch the series.
Really?
It's fucking
Oh,
hysterical.
no, I have watched the series. I did watch the series.
Well, then
it's just like,
you should agree with me then, because it's fucking hysterical.
I don't know, anything with Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. I'm like, this
They
is
make
good.
appearances,
This is gonna be
dude.
good. I know they do.
Yeah.
I know. That was the best episode.
Yeah, but fucking yeah, dude, hop on board with that shit, dude. It's great.
All right.
Don't get me wrong. The show's great.
Video game
Yeah, I know.
news. Now, the crossovers keep on happening in Fortnite. So they've just finished all their Marvel stuff. That was in the news this week, actually, because this is getting more problematic too. And as someone who hasn't streamed for a while, I'm kind of glad that I didn't in that window, because I know I would have breached these rules. So many people, when they were streaming the Galactus event in Fortnite, which was the Marvel crossover, they were playing an AC/DC song within the game. Now, that is copyright infringement as of this year on Twitch. So there's been a lot of accidental takedowns. In fact, I had a video flagged before I even released it when I was playing a section of Control, the game Control. And it had a song that apparently some European metal band did featured in the background. Like, it's in the game. I'm not streaming the music. I'm streaming the game that has it in there. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Not allowed to do it. So yeah, a lot of them had to go back and mute their content, and strikes were going out for people who didn't or who had streamed it in its entirety. So that's been problematic. And
Let me ask you: do you think that this is obnoxious behavior, anyways? Like, I mean, that this is a thing. I find this so fucking toxic. It's ridiculous.
So copyright slap suits have been a real fucked thing for a long time now, and they're getting worse. Not just by musicians, but I mean, like a lot of things like viral clips. That there are companies now whose sole existence is to, Hebrew gets hit in the nuts by a pelican. His girlfriend films it. And then it starts getting a few views online, and then random company twats reach out to your girlfriend and say, hey, I want to buy the rights to your video for $4,000. And you're like, fuck yeah, $4,000. $4,000 to hit my boyfriend in the nuts with a pelican. Done. So then all of a sudden they own the rights to it. Now all these clip shows on like YouTube who like review funny videos and react to them, all these react videos, blah, blah, blah. What'll happen is they will then play that video, which it's on the internet. It's very meme worthy. It's in high discussion. What'll happen is these companies will start reaching out and copyright flagging all those videos, right? So we're starting to see these big extensions of that. So I also see that most of the ones that are trying to enact it is the old guard musicians. It's not the new generation, because a lot of them seem to understand if you're in a viral video, people are going to start looking for your music in a time where it's very hard to get exposure. Whereas like, Van Halen or AC/DC or any of those, they're going hard to the paint, bro. And most of the time, the ones when it's not them, when it is the new gen, it's not them, it's their studios that are just trying to cram every dollar they can from the glory days of when they used to be able to charge $30 for fucking CDs or cassettes to, getting $1 here and there. So I do find it obnoxious. I understand that things that you create should be protected, but if it's a 15-second segment of a song playing in the background of a clip in a video game, I think that's pretty fucked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because even Cyberpunk, I don't know if you've seen this, they're releasing the normal version, the upgradable versions, but then there's an installable version which is for streamers that will deliberately not play what is apparently hours and hours of copyrighted music in that game.
That's good.
Ooh,
Props
lots
to them,
of license to music?
Props to them.
Oh, apparently there's
Is there any-
shitloads.
But is there a list? Have they dropped the soundtrack list?
I haven't seen it.
anywhere?
That's actually a great point. I'm guessing it's gonna be a banger.
All right, my turn to do.
But I think that's great.
Keyboard typing.
Like moving forward, because I mean, like this is like a huge job market now for people like that are Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
And I would see it as like if I was a hardcore Twitch streamer with a following, I would be like, well, I don't even want to play this game because I can't fucking stream it without a potential liability
And
issue.
that's what it is. And a lot of time, like with these single player games as well, like you're playing the story and things are coming as a surprise. You don't know what's about to happen. You're not sitting there and deliberately streaming something to break and deliberately inflict a copyright infringement. You're just streaming it because you're like, I want to play this game and I think I'm entertaining and I want people to watch me do it and I want to hang out with other people while I do it. And then all of a sudden AC/DC comes out, you're like, oh shit, you're going to turn that down or whatever it is. Or, something crazy happens in the game. I deleted one of my videos for Last of Us 2 when you killed a person. Actually, I don't want to say this. Let's say you killed a person that would have been very controversial to kill that person. I'm like, I'm not going to upload that because theoretically that's against the YouTube terms of service, what was just shown in that video game. So, this sort of thing is becoming really hard to navigate. And a lot of the new rules that are coming in are really fucked because most of it is under the guise of people that are not you need to get the money. Small creators are the ones that are getting fucked for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's kind of lame. But anyway, the reason I started with Fortnite, not just the copyright stuff, but Kratos, the God of War guys, have signed a deal with Fortnite. So he's going to be in there now, Hebrew. Is that going to be enough reason for you to touch Fortnite?
I will never touch Fortnite. If I want to play with Kratos, then I'm going to go put on God of War.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that excites me. I mean, they've had Star Wars crossovers. They've had Marvel crossovers. Kratos seems like it'd be fun. And like so there'd be potential. I kind of wish they did like a God of War mode where like you're all playing like the old, like from God of War 1 to 3, where you're playing the Greek gods and you have to try and take down a pissed off like Kratos. It's like you versus like 8 of you versus one really overpowered guy.
That would be cool.
I'd
that would
play
be
the shit
cool.
out of
If,
that.
like,
So
if you get to
here's the
actually
question I have:
fight Kratos.
like, is it Kratos carrying the same guns that everybody else is having? Because that just seems kind of counterproductive to Kratos, right? He doesn't use guns. He hits you with his guns.
Well, I know they've had some of like Wolverine, a few other things in the game recently. So I think they do have like kits available for those limited events for some of those characters. Like I saw the one with Batman as well ages ago. So yeah, there's definitely special concessions made for certain characters. Yeah, I don't think he's going to have guns all the time.
Yeah.
But there'll be things where like you be able to pull yourself to a... I don't know, I'm just guessing. But I'm assuming you be able to like pull yourself to someone with chains or something for melee range or something crazy. And maybe your melee can be an axe now instead of something else.
Kratos with his fists is more overpowered with anyone with a gun anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Truth. All right, now this is not surprising to anyone, really. But Game of the Year announcements always start to happen early December. And Apple and Google have both announced their video game of the year, which is Genshin Impact. As of a couple of days ago on, I think it's Sensor Radar or Sensor Tower, whatever it's called, that sort of reports like the mobile purchases of different games. Have you seen how much money that game has made?
Yeah, I saw this originally a little bit ago, and $400 million.
$400 million.
$400 million.
Now, in a year, that is hella impressive for a new title of anyone, right? But it's done that since its release on September 28.
Yep.
That's $400 million in a quarter.
Dude. That's a good fucking game.
Are the numbers, or the question I have is, are the numbers steady? Have they seen, because I know their initial...
They have gone down. Yeah, because originally it was 200 in the first 30... Well, I guess maybe not, because it was 200 in the first 30 days, right? Isn't that right?
Well, if they made 200 in the first 30 and only 200 in the next 60, because it was a quarter, right?
Yeah.
So, they had a 50% drop off then, or average 50% drop off after the first month, which is, a high initial.
Well, no, because it was because it was September 28th, so basically October.
Yeah.
So,
October, November, December is the final quarter of the. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like it's the very beginning of December. So
either way, it's fucking massive, boys. And bear in mind,
2 months, 400 million.
This is only the reporting for Apple and Google. Like, this is not the... We actually don't know the official figures until MiHoYo releases them. If they have, I've missed it, on what they made on PC and console.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about console. I was thinking PC.
Yeah,
but
PS.
Fuck, I forgot about console. Yeah, that's right. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I did also play Genshin on my PS5 on the menu TV, and it looks amazing.
I've been thinking about doing it. So what is the story again? What can't we do from PS5 to the others?
Just no cross save. That's the issue.
Yeah. Oh, no cross save?
So you're starting over.
Yeah.
You're starting
Screw
over.
that noise.
So,
yeah.
If it said no cross...
Yeah, I just wanted to see what it looked like.
It'd be pretty.
Yeah. You'd have to start entirely over again. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I'd have to think there'd be at least 100 mil. on those other platforms. Like, I really do.
I would.
So, I mean, this is probably a $500 million game, which
I think
it's crazy.
Everyone I know plays it on the PC rather than mobile. So, like,
It's a
I feel
much
like
better
the
experience.
Figures have to be, except they're actually, I was going to say, so I figure the figures have to be huge on PC, but in reality, I think a lot of people use, like, download it on their phone and buy through there rather than the PC.
Yes.
Because you can't
I was
do it
gonna
through
mention that.
PayPal on the PC.
Now, I will say this. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
been fixed, but it used to be if your first purchase was made through Apple, you weren't able to purchase anywhere else from that point on.
Damn. So Apple, though? That's classic Apple to do something
It
like
is
that.
classic Apple. Yeah. Well, it's actually Mihoyo
Not
that built
gonna
that
lie.
limitation in somewhere. That, like, it basically said, sorry, you can't purchase.
I
for
wonder if it was
that
at
reason.
Apple's behest, though. I feel like that's
Maybe.
something that Apple would write in. Because that's not good for them, for Mihoyo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, I'm currency
like-
locked on Apple, so I'm never going to buy it through the Australian store if I've got an option somewhere else. No
Oh,
way.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don't want to.
I use Android anyway because you get the play points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of
But anyways,
course.
not surprised about the game of the year. It was so good. I was honestly, it was expecting to be, and I know that they were nominated, but Legends of Runeterra or Genshin. And so both of them were nominated on all of them. I knew it was going to be one or the other, but I expected Genshin because it was, ironically, so much more popular because it had like unheard of popularity whenever it came out. So, yeah.
Well, there wasn't much competition in that
Yeah.
space. Like, Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
clones, like, we know that there's a slew of them coming over the next year, but there really hadn't been anything that was of that quality or that caliber since the Nintendo. Whereas now this game, I still think it's more engaging than Breath of the Wild personally, but I don't have
Same.
the Zelda legacy behind me. Like, I wasn't so into those characters and stories from, you know, their inception that, you know, without that attachment, I think it falls off a lot. I really do, compared to things like Genshin. But in saying that, you do hit some cliffs later on. Like, the pay-to-win factor definitely gets more and more. And I am curious to see what the end game becomes. I think they need an end game soon, because there are some players like myself that we're kind of like running out of incentive to log in, other than just go in, collect free shit, log out.
Yeah, I for me, like, I'm I'm not quite as high as you, but I'm definitely like 100% in the end game. Been there for a while. I definitely want more multiplayer stuff. That's my one thing about it.
Yeah, for sure. Multiplayer has not
just
been done well so
raids.
far.
Yeah, I just want fucking group raids. That's all we need. The foundation's
Hell yeah.
there. The infrastructure's all there, so it'd be easy to do. They just need to do it, and hopefully that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be pretty great. Now, there's nothing in the mobile section this week from Hebrew. It's been a bit of a quiet batch. There'll be some in mid-late December. We got some titles coming out. But let's talk about what's coming up. Now, we could talk about everything that's coming out this week. There's obviously the Avengers patch with Kate Bishop coming through. You've got a lot of the events returning into things like Destiny 2. On the 8th, we've got Destiny 2's high-def version coming out. But the real big one, I mean, let's face it, this is the game that if anyone's buying a video game this week, it is. And I can't believe we're 5 days away from this. In fact, it might have even dropped before I get to editing this fucking thing. Is Cyberpunk 2077. It's finally happening, boys.
Yep.
We're there. It's coming.
It's finally here. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so
fucking
excited.
pumped.
I need to finish.
Oh, wait,
What?
hold on. What's hold on, I just saw a link online. Cyberpunk 2077 not delayed. Okay,
It's
all right.
not delayed. Trust me, I checked that. I checked that before the show. That's happened before on this show where I've literally, I don't know, an hour afterwards, like, yep, delayed. And we're like, oh, so excited. It's next week. Oh, I don't think it was ever that close. I think it was always like inside 30 days at least. So
Yeah.
yeah. So look, I'm
By
so
now-
pumped for this game. It's just such a shame that it's like a single player experience. Like, we're all going to be talking about it, but like, in saying that, you're not going to be playing it with each other. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the one problem I have. I love great single player experiences, but I also love playing with my friends, like, and having those experiences in a great game together. So, like,
in a game
I
like
wish that
this
it was
with story,
multiplayer.
though, like, I will admit that a lot of time playing with people pisses me off because they're like, "Oh, I'm not really into story in games. I'm just going to push the skip button. I'm going to vote to skip."
I
Like,
feel the
you
same.
fuck off, mate.
Yeah, playing Destiny with someone who doesn't care about the Destiny story right now, and I'm like, motherfucker, just go with
get
me,
out.
dude.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I find that's interesting. Like, I think it's well known throughout the A&R community that Chew, like, literally devours games.
Yes.
And to hear you say you're super into the story and that you're interested in engaging with the story, it's like, well, now I feel even more inferior because you managed to go that quickly through content and stay interested to the story instead of like, skip that story.
Oh, okay. So I don't. Now I will say this: I do love me a game because I am a speed reader, if there is such a thing. That if it does have the option that I can read the dialogue, I always put subtitles on in dialogue situations, whether they're cutscenes or not. And the ones where you have the option to spacebar skip, so that if I can read it and understand it before they finish the sentence, I usually will. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
To an extent, if I love the character and the experience and I don't think it's going to be like a 300-hour game, that's a different story, right? But with things like Valhalla, like, the voice acting wasn't wonderful for the female character. I mean, it was fine, but like because it was so like I'd hear American way too much, I was like, I can just push this on there. So I experienced the whole story, but I didn't necessarily wait for them to go, oh, so you're going on an adventure, eh? That sounds very good. I'll be just like, I read that by the time the second word was uttered. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably sometimes why I'm going through a bit faster in others. But it's always about efficiency. Like I always do like straight lines on maps and it's all about time efficiency.
My working theory about how he devours games so fast is that it wasn't too long ago whenever he got the Hasbro Infinity Gauntlet. I'm thinking they accidentally sent over the time stone.
Yeah, I'm Hermioning this bitch. I've got a time turner. So yeah.
I guess you're using it in the most responsible way if you're only using it for gaming.
As far as you know. Yeah.
Right.
In the original timeline, there was no coronavirus, so you're welcome.
Yeah. That's how we got a vaccine so fast. I think. You fucked around with the time stone.
Yeah. Well, I went back and corrected that part. That's exactly right. So
there you go.
We need to talk about 2016.
Do we?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you have the power, how could you let?
No,
that
I specified all the problems in the US. The rest of the world
real.
was fine. Nothing changed in my country. I just chatted with you guys. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
Got it.
He was like, USA is probably gonna be fine. Nothing.
Yeah, I was watching The Apprentice on TV. I was like, do you know what would be fucking funny?
Yeah. This will be a hilarious joke.
Yeah. Alrighty
Well
then. Let's take some questions quickly from some of our patrons. I know we talked a lot of it with them off air over the last couple of weeks, so there's not too many. So, number one, McFly. Did any of us watch The IT Crowd?
I did not actually.
No,
I have not seen it.
Boys,
I've heard great things about it though.
Please watch it. It's short. There's only a couple of seasons. It's British seasons, so there's only like 6 episodes per season. Like you can consume it in a day if you wanted to, right? On just a rainy day, boom, there it is.
Nice.
Or any Corona day, really. You better pump through that. Now, it is hilarious. And if this doesn't sell you more, there was actually a study that came out. I don't know why someone was researching this about all the like British BBC shows. What shows generated the most measurable laughs per minute of all time? It's actually that show.
Mm-hmm. Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to watch it now.
It is crazy
so, I mean,
funny.
I use
and it has
the
actors
gif
in
of-
it that you would absolutely recognize.
Really?
Oh, absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
especially for like British movies and stuff like that, I could see that because they tend to reuse a lot.
You know the real overacting British guy in the
I'm
series?
sold on watching.
What were we just talking about before? What We Do in the Shadows? The guy with like the longer version of Walter Bolka? He's in it.
Oh, really?
Oh wow.
Yeah. No,
Then,
it's
I'm
a
definitely
genuinely
down to
funny
watch.
show, dude. Check it out for sure. So McFly's going to be disappointed in both of you, as always. All right, Slim.
Fair enough.
If you
I'm
could
okay with
pick
that.
any song to be your intro music when you enter a room, what would it be?
I've had several theme songs throughout history. Ranging from Tupac's "I Get Around" to Dennis Leary's "Asshole."
Right. Yeah.
But I think depending on the mood, it would either be "Let Me Freak" by Lil Dicky,
Right.
Oh
or
man.
You just changed Hebrews' answer for sure.
Yeah, you straight up. I was like, oh, shit,
He wasn't
that's
even thinking about it. That's good. Oh yeah, man.
Or if I'm feeling like I want to do a WWE style entrance, it would be Start a Riot,
Right.
from the Spider-Verse
I getcha.
soundtrack.
Well, that's a separate question, but a good question as well. Like, what would your wrestling entrance be versus your everyday life one? Because everyday life, like, you have to live with that shit forever. Like, every time you enter a room,
Yeah.
like, you want to make sure that's not something. It's just like, I regret choosing the Spice Girls about 3 months in. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to make that choice. Mine would be, if I said battle without honor or humanity, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you do? You're probably
Absolutely.
the first.
Yes,
good man.
absolutely.
Yep.
That song is awesome.
yeah, it's awesome.
And I know Hebrews heard
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure I've
everyone.
heard it,
It's
yeah.
one of those things that you see
Yes.
playlists on YouTube, which is like songs that you have heard 1,000 times but didn't know what it's called. Remember in
Yeah.
Kill Bill, there's the end where Lucy Liu's character gets introed for the first time, and after that movie, it became like the let's slow things down as the cool characters walk music from then until now. Right? It was in Ocean's 11. That I'm doing a bad impression of it. Anyway, Google that song. Yeah, that's my answer for every room. If
I
it was
do know-
wrestling
I do know
entrance,
that song
it
with
would
an
be Down with the Sickness by Disturbed.
Ooh. Would you come screaming in when it goes?
Yeah, that's when my pyro comes off. Yeah, that's when my pyro goes.
Whose song?
Yeah.
What wrestler's song was actually that? I forgot what it was.
Was it? I thought they had
Yeah,
one
Did somebody
pay-per-view was that. I think they might have had...
Oh, maybe it was a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it was a sponsored pay-per-view. That was the theme song. I don't think it was an individual wrestler. At least for WWE.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, with all the new ones, I can't keep track. Like AEW and
Yeah.
TNA, whatever else is out there now.
I don't mess with those. Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling in decades, literally decades.
How much bits and
Yeah.
pieces? It's just a different animal now. And obviously, reading that stuff from that story that we had a couple weeks ago about how Vince McMahon is trying to fuck people on Twitch as well makes me go even
Yeah.
further away from WWE. And the male division's kind of shit. Most of the guys there right now are just, yeah, they're okay. But the female division, honestly, I would watch WWE just for the ladies division. They are incredible. The next gen, they're awesome.
Well, the Undertaker just retired, right?
He did.
And I remember when he first came onto the
Yeah,
scene.
well, Sting is still around from WCW. He just signed like this week
What?
with AEW. Yeah, he was in WWE for a little
Isn't
while.
that dude like 80?
He's up there, but he's still wrestling at a reasonable level compared to some of the other guys that wrestled way in. Like, you saw guys like Taker. You could see the times where they were like, yeah, I'm backing out of this cell for sure. Yeah. Hebrew, you got a song?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think like realistically, it should probably be White Guy from Little Dicky, just because that epitomizes everything
Not Save That Money?
to do with me. No, not honestly, not Save That. Not over White Dude. Like, I mean, both
Right.
applicable. Don't get me wrong, but White Dude, that is 100% like my life. I feel like whenever he's saying that, I was like, me and him are the same person. I'm pretty sure. So that one, and then my secondary would probably be like Uptown Funk, just because I feel like it'd be badass to walk into anywhere with that song playing in the background.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a boom, 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 boom. Like, I would totally be down with that.
Yeah.
So those
Like,
two.
if it had to play with its entirety, I got to admit, there's a part of me that just to fuck with other people would pick something like American Pie, which goes like 13 minutes or whatever the fuck it is. And just,
There you
do you
go.
know what I mean?
Jesus.
Just a really ruin
Was
through.
it Inagata
yeah.
Navita? Was that the other one?
Which one?
This, are you talking about super long ones?
Inagata Navita? I think that's how
Freebird would be one.
Maybe.
Freebird,
Freebird
yes.
would be
Jesus
one.
Christ. Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven.
Now, Grim.
Stairway to Heaven isn't that long, but I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes. Now, Grimnos, I'm going to answer yours next week. Unfortunately, with the way show prep worked out, we didn't get a chance to watch your video. You guys didn't see it, did you? The other question in Q&A?
I actually saw it
No.
a while ago, yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, can we book that guy as a guest? Do you want to answer that question for him now?
I mean, I'd love to book that guy as a guest. That guy sounds, I mean, he sounds like
So
an idiot,
paint us a
but he
word
sounds like
picture.
lot of
What
fun.
did you see in this video that Grim sent?
Do you see the thumbnail?
I do.
Do you see his giant beard and like absurd looking face, and he's shirtless?
I
in
mean,
the
this
field,
looks
super
like
jacked,
me
hugging-
if I, wasn't like subscribed to KFC. Yeah.
Well, basically, so he's like a super hick along with it. I'm not sure if this is a joke or if this is real still, by the way.
Right.
But he's complaining about the fact that he ordered these things online, that giant floating, whatever you call it, airplane.
Right.
And they were like super small, which it said they were super small on the thing, but he thought that they were going to be gigantic like the one in the video that he saw. And then he's bitching about it. And
I'm guessing he's
doesn't
bitching in a
understand why they're
relatively
so small.
spectacular fashion.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, he's super hick, jacked up guy with a beard. Like, it's exactly what you think would be happening.
It's like South Park.
Instead
Instead of they took our jobs, like, they took my plane.
That's exactly what it is.
Great.
Yes.
He would almost be the picture of America if that muscle was fat and all in his gut.
100%, yeah.
This looks like, from what you're describing, this guy, might as well call him like bodybuilder Karen.
Pretty much, yeah.
But like
I would
redneck
love to
Karen.
be this guy's friend, but not because I actually want to be friends with him, but because I just want to be around him all the time whenever he goes through life.
Just sitting in the eye of the tornado of chaos. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty
yeah.
good.
So, yeah.
There's
There's your
like
answer.
it. Now, look, as we get closer to Christmas, folks, I really want to make sure that I'm really impressing the importance of how much we appreciate every single one of you that have either subscribed or stay subscribed to our Patreon. Like some of the stories that have been coming out of you guys that want to keep supporting the show, but obviously financially things have been tough. You know, we get it, man. Like, honestly, this is a podcast. It's entertainment. Life comes first. So for every single one of you that in what is truly an asshole of a year, financially, emotionally, and look, in a tech year too, fuck, if you can afford to throw $1 our way after buying a PS5, shit, even more respect, bro, right?
Yeah.
We really appreciate those of you that have stuck with us as we've started this new pod, and obviously as it's evolving, we're trying to make it better. Keep the feedback coming, but thank you to every single one of you. I'm really going to stress that a lot more over the next couple of weeks, but let me do the Patreon shout-outs for you legends, just to our supporter tier guys, to Ox5, Batbutt, Connor L, Jeepus, Goat, LFC Avenger, Sylv J, Lunchbox, and Alan K. Thank you to all of you. To the fanboys, Mad Doc, Dadge Rec, Commander Hansen, Unhinged, Flexipotamus, Matt Bloody, to Simon L, Incorrect User, Rockstar, Corey F, Dan, Snorlax Hunter, TT Marco, JJ Orbits, Curtis the Greek, Swain Hammer, Jamie, X23, Bearded Viking, Metalhead, Runnergun 83, Dracul, Lily, Zateotech, Admirero, Frozen, Chief, Honey Badger, and Pike. Thank you to all of you guys. To the dedicated, so to Nightside, Conway, Supreme, Abysserum, Captain Hammer, DJB 306, Morphine Dream, Cheetah, Hobbs, Tuggernuts, Andrew G, Domino, Real East, Done and Done, Paul Puck, Beer God, Legriv, Cravino, Mookie, Grimnos, Justin Beard, and Give Me Scotch. Thank you to all of you. And then to the Multiverse Masters, the guys that realistically are getting us much closer to actually being able to pay everything off each month. I'm going to start this week with McFly. Thank you so much for upping you. He actually came in as one of our fanboy subscriber tiers, then upgraded once to the dedicated, and now he's in with the Multiverse Masters. So thank you so much for your support. It's been great having you on the servers, man. I know the Genshin community's been playing with you a lot, and you've been helping people out, so that's awesome. But also to Agent Zero, Honeycombs, the grumpy gamer dad himself, who is right here. So thank you personally at Hooch. We're going to have to work this out because it feels like you're paying us to be here. You know what I mean?
Not wrong.
It doesn't feel good taking money from you every month while you've been helping us out so much. So if Parker doesn't get his shit together, he's getting the boot, I tell you. He's, I mean, seriously.
Oh, shh, don't say that too loud. You might.
I just don't understand how one case of
chlamydia
chlamydia can be so bad that it takes you out for like 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, fucking hell.
It's a particularly persistent strand. I guess.
Exactly.
It's virulent. To Bronzy, to Silver Wolf, Jedi Matroza, Slim, Jay Shriver, Neil Whitebird Wiley, Jackie246, Lord Keen. I'm so glad that he took out his mistake before I got charged again this month. So thank you again for that, the Quixotic one. To Moon, Judas, Fulci Smoltzy, Spark Zulu, Dragus, Della, Kane76, Creative Name. Look, honestly, thank you to all of you. And we really appreciate everything you guys have done for us. I'm not kidding when I say with how busy our lives have gotten, we probably wouldn't be on the show if we didn't have you guys propping us up through the hard part, which is always getting started. So, all we can do is keep recording and hoping people find us and like us. So, yeah, remember to share it with your friends. Hit those 5-star reviews on Apple. That definitely helps with our visibility. And if you do leave us a comment in there when you do it, that'd be great as well. Make sure you join the community over at discord.com/ANR. Plug the Patreon one last time at patreon.com/ANR pod. But that is probably going to do us for another week. I dare say next week is going to be just the Cyberpunk edition.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah. I mean, we only would have had between the time we next record, we only would have had actually a day and a bit to play this game. So it'll be first impressions, I dare say.
That's enough. Yeah.
That's enough. All right.
Yeah. I may have scheduled some time to spend the entire day.
That's right. You're
be
taking the
sick
time
that
off.
day.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Fridays is my day off anyway. So, I mean, all these Thursday releases have been great for me. And we were recording on Friday mornings, and that pretty much disappeared. Or Friday morning's my time, Thursday night, the US guys' time. Because we're all like, shit, new games coming out. We got to play at least a few hours ready for the next day. So I think Friday night recordings for you guys might be a thing for a while.
Definitely.
Just as well coronavirus hits, you guys don't have lives on Fridays now, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I mean, basically, next week we're going back on lockdown in the area.
Really?
The Bay Area, yeah.
Dude.
Governor Newsom announced that we will be having that.
We're in wrap-up mode. Could we talk about that hypocritical fuck? Didn't he say to all of you guys, you need to do the right thing and stay home? And then he's gone, but peace, I'm going to Mexico, I want to say. Well, was that him or was that Florida man?
No. I think he did do something where he had to apologize for it.
Yeah.
Well, it was just in the news today, that one of them was in Mexico. I don't remember who, but one of them was in Mexico, and it was super hypocritical.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think there were. Yeah, so Newsom was one. I think there was somebody else who did it also, where it's just like, you can't do this. You can't say, follow the rules and then turn around and not do it.
It's pretty shit. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, boys, another big week. Thank you so much for your time. Hebrew Hammer.
No problem.
And as always, Hooch, thank you very much for filling in, brother. It's I shouldn't even say filling in. Basically, you're carrying us at this point.
I wouldn't say that, but it's always a blast, man. I love it.
Awesome sauce. All right, I've been Chewbacca84. We will catch you guys next week. Cheers.